Well, elsewhere on YouTube, people are reviewing the ruins of Skaro action figures. Those that can afford them, that is. For everyone else here on Who's Views, it's your regular appointment with JT and the WHOTASTIC panel, and another review around DisneyWho. And after last week's boom, let's see just how far this one got. It's 73 yards. 73 yards to what exactly? I'm not sure. But maybe this lot can clear that up.
"73 Yards gives Doctor Who a slight boost to its overnight ratings. But is that because they all left the telly on after the football?" I'm just putting it out there. That's all I'm saying. I'm just putting it out there. We had big match yesterday on BBC One. We had the Man United versus Man City. Even I know that was on there. And who didn't turn the television off? I'm just putting it out there. Welcome to Who's Views Reviews, everybody. As you can see, I'm joined by Paul, Third Doctor Ian, and Jodie. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
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 And yes, we are here to talk about last night's DisneyWho, Doctor Who, 73 yards. But there it is, everyone, 2.62 million last night. So that puts it just above Space Bubbles. So that's the highest overnight figure so far for this season.
Yeah, it means the show's saved. Yay.
Now, don't go mad. Don't go mad. But it's nice to see you all, everybody. I'm really excited about this particular episode because not only am I very, very interested to hear what the WHOTASTIC panel think about 73 yards, but of course I am very interested to hear what you all think about it. And maybe you can actually tell me what the hell it was all about. Just maybe. So listen, we're going to kick off with the WHOTASTIC panel. Who wants to start with this tonight, Ian?
Okay. If you took the police box out of it, it could have been an episode of some kind of mystery drama thing. It was so non-Doctor Who. It was, what was the point in some respects? That character's not been, the character of Ruby hasn't really been established long enough to, I think she did very well, but I don't think the character's been established long enough to warrant an episode that is just her. And I know Russell T Davies likes to always make it about the companion, but seriously, there's only 8 episodes in this series, so having a Doctor Light one doesn't make a lot of sense. But clearly they've hit the winning formula by leaving that gibbering, gurning idiot out of it. I mean, right at the very end, he comes in doing his windmill arms and all this stupid stuff. I mean, he even called the string on the floor honey, for God's sake.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
He can't help it. But it went to the lavatorial, having a pee round the back. And of course, it had to have sex reference in it. Somebody's not good in bed. And of course, it had to be it couldn't be the Asian boyfriend or anything like that. It had to be the white guy that was rubbish in bed. And is that necessary? Of course it's not, but it's in there anyway because he can. And then there was this figure on a hillside under a tree straight out of the film The Ring.
Yeah, I've seen that today. There's been an awful lot of commentary today, guys, hasn't there, on social media, on all the platforms, really. It's very interesting because I thought to myself today, I've missed something here because we've got a significant amount of fandom saying that this is classic, this is wonderful classic Doctor Who, this is the best thing Russell T Davies has written in ages and ages and ages. And I thought, yeah, are you comparing this to Space Babies and the Devil's Cord then? Are you really? Because although it was stylized and it looked good, I just thought, well, where's the plot? Where's the plot?
I felt it was a bit like 2 episodes in one. To carry on your football analogy, is like a game of 2 halves. It was like two episodes fighting for airtime a little bit. It was like 2 halves. You had the pub bit, which was brilliant, and they had all the stuff with the politician with the second half. So it was kind of it was a game of 2 halves for me, I think, really.
Yeah. Well, hello to you all in the chat here. Andrew is saying, Andrew Cledder, I thought 73 yards was pretty meh. And I said to my wife after, What the was it all about? Moriarty is saying to us here, the crew on Whose Views have broken the fairy circle. I could tell you stories on that one, actually. Yeah, throughout the years. Yes, but we'll move on. Divining Dragon says it was just a Moffat bump in the ratings. And Alien Airplanes, hello to you, 73 yards was pretty damn good. I'm going to rewatch it with my dad to see what he thinks. I turned him into a Doctor Who fan. Well, please make sure that he goes and sees some of the classic stuff as well. Joe, you quite like this one as well, didn't you?
I did quite like it. I mean, after what's been, I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether I'm influenced. I'll maybe know years later. Like, I really loved Blink, which was Dr. Light.
Yes.
And I thought it was a fantastic episode, but I don't know that it's comparable with Blink, but I quite enjoyed the story. I just wish I didn't have to have the ending explained to me by my daughter, which was slightly embarrassing.
We'll come to that because I need the ending explained as well, really.
Well, she thinks she's got it, so yeah.
Get her on. No, because what do you think in the chat? I mean, I'm watching it. I quite liked the tone of the thing. You know, I was quite interested in this. Michael, hello, Michael. He's saying, hello, JT. And I say, I'm so confused with 73 yards. Well, come on, kids, stand over here with me. Let's hope that the Who viewers here and the Whotastic panel, let's hope we can get through this. Oh, and T-Matt is reminding me here, good evening, everyone. Hi, chat. Hi, panel. Hi, mods. Yes, we've got Garbage, and we've got Kirsty there as well. So thank you so much to those two for joining as well. I think Kirsty's coming on shortly as well. She's having a few issues at the moment, I believe. But yeah, I mean, what was I saying? Oh, yes. I was looking forward to this, as you know, guys, because of these two. These are two of my favorites, you know, Dame Sean Phillips and Aneurin Bernard. And I was gutted. I really was. I was expecting two big players like them to have more to do, glorified cameos, and I was absolutely gutted because it was actually we'd seen a bit of this pub thing with Dame Shani, and it was obviously marketing, wasn't it? And that whole scene in the pub, I was beginning to think this is going to be a bit of a Terror of the Zygon type thing. It's setting it up. It's setting it up. It's setting it up. And it didn't. We have got Kirsty here, by the way. So hi to Kirsty. Nice to see you. Oh, look, she's going out. Nice to see you, lovely. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But yes, we had that bit there in the pub, and I thought that was all lovely. But then it moved. It got on a train, and it physically moved to London again. And I don't know. For me, it lost something there, you know. And I was so disappointed because we have these two wonderful, wonderful presences in the show, and they were brilliant in the tiny parts in my book that both of them were given. And I'm gutted, actually. I'm a bit disappointed.
Yeah, Sham was definitely wasted. She should be more of it. In fact, they should have kept it all in the pub. I wish they had. Yeah.
Well, I thought that's what it was going to be like because, you know, Jodie, you mentioned there Blink. I totally agree. This is nothing like Blink, although I think it was trying to be. I do think it was trying to be. I think it took that template. But I think it would have had more of a presence had it been similar to Midnight back in Tennant's Day, where it was just in that space of the pub. And there was a threat outside which they couldn't understand.
Yeah, the pub was bad.
Wasn't it just? Those scenes were just... And the fact that they were taking the rise out of Ruby as well, because she's gone in there with this perception that we ain't going to have any stranger here and all that sort of stuff. And they take the rise out of it. They just go, oh, please, come on. But it was lovely, that whole scene. You know, it was you were falling for it as a viewer, I thought.
Yeah, just shame about Shan Phillips because she is amazing, and I just wanted to see so much more of her because she played her part so intriguingly that you did want to see more.
Well, I certainly did.
I think for me, there's little things that will always irritate. I think it was. I mean, the Albion party was, I think it was trying to be a little bit with the colours, for example, of their logos and everything. They're very Tory colours, aren't they? And it was clear what they were trying to be a pastiche of. But also the stuff about, you know, it was Wales steeped in blood because of the English and everything. And being the sole English representative on this panel, it really, you get anti-English shite everywhere. And to be quite honest, dear God.
Well, you do, except England. I mean, that's the only place you don't really. Oh, I don't know these days, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it's frustrating because you see it everywhere, and again, it's a cheap shot because English tend never to really fire back. But you know, with If I Dare with Scotland, for example. You always hear about the British and Culloden and all this kind of thing and how evil. But I mean, the Scots invaded all the way down to my hometown of York just prior to being pushed back. So, you know what? It's a little bit like the asterisk, but, you know, let's not go there. But English bad. It's just like, Jesus, change the record. But
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Sometimes I
little
wonder if
niggles.
it's tongue in cheek.
It's revenge for the World Cup, Ian. That's it.
Yeah. I do wonder sometimes
enough.
if it was tongue in cheek, but in this one last night, I didn't get it if it was. In fact, I didn't get any of the, if there was any humor in it, I didn't get that either, really. I'd like to say hello and welcome to Who's Views to Daz Blue, who's in the chat. Next week will be the biggest drop because the episode was full of plot holes. And I'm glad you've mentioned that because I think it was too. And I'd like to talk more about that with you all and the WHOTASTIC panel as well, because I think that's why a lot of us are confused. And hello and welcome to Jay Lanchester. If I've got the plot right, the young guy in the pub made the doctor disappear so he could be the only gay in the village.
That's it.
That's very possible.
I have to say, I did miss Shooty. I really enjoyed Millie's performance, but I didn't miss the Doctor at all, which is a really bad feeling. If you don't miss the Doctor, there's something far wrong.
Yeah. I was going to ask, actually, did anyone miss this guy? Did anyone? I mean, it's such a shame. So early into his career, actually, this is part 5, well, episode 4 of the series, but part 5, including the Christmas thing. You all know, if you've been watching us on these reviews, I still haven't attached myself to this Doctor at all. I can't do it. There's nothing there that's made me say this is the Doctor yet. It could be, as Paul suggested, the fact that he hasn't got an outfit that I can associate with it. It could be as fickle as that. It could be the characterization. It could be the language. I hate it when he calls everything honey. It could be a number of things, but I just don't see him there yet. And I have to be honest, I did not miss him. I did not miss our main character that we all know and love at all in this.
I was actually disappointed when he came back, to be fair, but at the end. But
well, let me know in the chat. Did you miss Shooty in this? Jode, what did you think about that?
Well, she was very good. She carried the episode, and you know that's. I mean, to be honest, I'm just so relieved to see a companion who can act. Because I really didn't enjoy the companions in Jodie's era. I really didn't. They were grim. So I just feel sad in a way. She carried the episode so well, and she's not going to have long, is my understanding. And I actually was surprised she carried it as well, because I didn't think I'd like her so much.
She is so good in this. This was apparently, in case you don't know, Who viewers, the first episode they filmed for Doctor Who, for this version of Doctor Who. And so therefore, Shooty wasn't available. And so Millie had to carry this massive launch of this brand new version of Doctor Who on her own, and she pulled it off beautifully.
Yeah. Apart from being 40, she was never 40. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. She must have heavily moisturised.
She must have got some stuff from Cassandra or something like that.
But what does that say, though? What does that say when it's the first episode of a new series and the main actor isn't bloody well available? What does that say?
Yeah. I mean, you all know I have to watch with my family, and they'd forgotten about the Doctor through this episode because Millie was so good. And at the end of it, when he came back, it was this sort of recollection that the guy in the duffel coat was the lead character. But where did he go? What happened? I don't understand. Why did he suddenly disappear? What was that about?
We'll never find out.
No.
Never. No.
Well, actually, it's strange. Sorry, Kirst?
There's so many people making theories about it, and no one actually really cares as well where he went.
It's interesting that you say that.
What Russell T. Davis wants, though. Do you think that's
what
he wants?
It is.
He's not worked out yet, has he?
No, he has actually said over the last wee while that it's not going to be explained so that the viewer can come to their own conclusions. Like, for example, I was going on last night saying, what was that woman? What was the mysterious woman saying to people to make them go mad and run away? Because it was never explained.
Here's a synopsis for the rest of the season. They'll run off.
Yeah. But apparently Russell says, well, you're not going to know because that's up to you to decide what it was going to do. And I just think, what a big cop-out. What a really big cop-out.
Yeah.
No, he just doesn't know himself, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He's making up as he goes along. Really.
Darren is saying to us, the episode came across as RTD reworking elements of Turn Left and his Years and Years series. There was also an element of the Dead Zone. Overall, flat and disappointing. Andrew was saying it was mediocre. And Raymond, hello to you all. Hello, Raymond. It was awful beyond words. In an article, RTD said he was bored with the three-structure act. Set up, confrontation, resolution. This was his attempt to mess with those rules, and he failed on every level. I don't think you can mess with those rules. I think that's the structure of a plot. I think that's the way it would work, whether it be on film, television, or stage. You have to have a structure somewot. What else we got?
Sorry, JT. There was an interview quite some years ago, and I think it was Ben Aronovich and talking with Andrew Cartmel, and it was talking about what could have possibly been the next series when it actually got cancelled in '89. And they'd been talking about intros, and I think one was Ace walking down a corridor of a spaceship, and then it went through the Tardis doors. He was in the console room, and it'd be a brilliant episode opening. And they agreed it was. And apparently the question was, and what's the episode about? And it was, I have no clue about that. It was just a really good opening. And it seems like Russell T Davies has taken that concept and just made an episode out of it. This is a really good scene. What about the story? Don't know about that. Don't know about plot. Don't know about resolution. Just it looks really good.
That happens. That happens an awful lot these days, I think, though, with television and movies. You go to a movie now, and I get bored with a lot of them because it's all about CGI spectacle. And I was beginning to think that Doctor Who was coming into that. Look how big our budget is, and look what we've spent it on. Oh, and plot, bugger the plot and bugger the story because we can do explosions or big spaceships or anything. Let's say hello to Jamie. Jamie Knight, can you feel the power of the Gammonators? Hello, everyone. Hello, it's nice to see you, Jamie.
My gammon set for stun, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And Dino V is saying to us, or Dino 5, I watched with my 8-year-old daughter, Romana. And she loved it. But that's great. I mean, she was 8 years old. I think that's brilliant. What exactly did she get out of this? Because there's no real monster. There's no real monster or anything like that in there, is there? So, what did she get out of that, Dinah? Let's. And I wonder who she's named after, Romana.
I wonder who. Yes, it's either that or Fred, isn't it? I think the opening was really nice. The shots of it. You're talking about having real locations to use. That cliff top was beautiful, and some fantastic shots of the TARDIS. And the director made a great job of some of the shots he created.
Well, why was there no title sequence though?
I don't know. I hate when they do it. It drives me crazy.
No, because I saw today. Oh, hello, doggy. I saw today that some fans have actually put the title sequence back into it, and it's the bit where Ruby is running towards the town over the cliff top, and it works beautifully where the title sequence crashes in that. And I just thought, what have we gone down Pretentiousville here, or is it because the Doctor's not in the episode? I don't know. Interesting, but I missed that sort of clash into the titles. X-Man 577, right at the beginning, I had a feeling it was Ruby looking at herself. Ooh, clever clogs. You're gonna have to explain that one to me as well, because how did she get from there to there, and there, up there, back around, and then back?
So I'm just distracted there, Jodie. It looked like your dog just regenerated there for a black.
I'm sorry. My family only have one job. This is supposed to be it.
And he blew it. Yeah.
Makes me laugh. Terry Tees, hello, welcome to you. Welcome to Who's Views. Nice to see you. If you are new to our channel, please do subscribe. It's free to subscribe. So subscribe and ring that bell so you know when we're going live again. Terry Tees is saying to us here, best episode so far. But yes, it could have been done outside of Doctor Who. Its golden point is the current Doctor wasn't in it. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. It did sort of draw you in, but it didn't have that Doctor Who flavour to me. That's that recognisable element of this is Doctor Who.
I think it was quite creepy, which I quite liked about it. At least they kept that element and the uncertainty of this other woman, who obviously reveals it's actually Ruby. But I really, if they're not going to tell us what she says, or we don't find out who Ruby actually is, if she's some god or goddess or whatever she happens to be, I'll be really annoyed, because it's just frustrating. He promised to tell us why Tennant came back and he had the same face, but we never found out why, really. So
no, it's true. And why his clothes changed into that as well. It was all left just out there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Matthew was saying the ratings are still awful, but no spin-offs will happen. Well, we do know we are getting one 8 episode series is on the way. So
well, he name-checked it, didn't he?
Yeah.
When he came out the TARDIS, he said, that battle between the land and the sea.
He should have added, "I won't be in it because I'll be busy doing something else."
And I'm shite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at that because I've got these somewhere. Let's have a look at this one because Radio Times. Did Doctor Who just confirm a long-rumoured spin-off? 73 Yards may have dropped a big clue. Back in January 2023, Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies confirmed that spin-offs would form part of the show's next stage under his stewardship. Speaking about his decision to return to the series, Davies said, "I thought, with no criticism whatsoever towards the people who were running it at the time, because they were running it within BBC measures, it was time for the next stage for Doctor Who." He continues, earlier this month, Davies offered an official update on the planned spin-offs, confirming that there are offices that exist now for the development of these new shows. Now, we might just have got confirmation that one rumoured spin-off is indeed about to materialise, because the opening scenes of the latest episode, 73 Yards, see the Doctor delighted to have landed the Tardis in Wales. When companion Ruby asks how he can be so certain as to the location, he replies, "That smell, that green, that coastline. Ruby, oh, the rocks and the water, it never ends. The war between the land and the sea," which is allegedly what it's going to be called, the next series. In January 2024, an entry on the website Production List, which posts announcements of new TV and film projects in pre-production, suggested that a Doctor Who spin-off titled The War Between the Land and the Sea was in development. The entry also claimed that the show would feature iconic foes, the Sea Devils. At the time, the BBC declined to comment on this report when approached by RadioTimes.com. But does the Doctor's line in 73 Yards hint that there might be something to the story? If not, it's a mighty big coincidence. I think it's more than a coincidence. I think it's guaranteed because that's what he did in the second season, wasn't it? When he was dropping things like Torchwood.
I wonder why they chose the Sea Devils. Oh, we've still got the costumes. Let's use them again. Is that how they chose
Very
it?
probably.
Yeah.
Or maybe he wasn't happy that last time round in their last outing. Only 2 million people saw them, and maybe he wasn't very happy with that. Oops.
Possibly. Yeah. It'll still be the same amount of people watching, though, I'd imagine. Maybe less.
I think it was probably going to be less in my eyes here. Yeah, Kirst, what was your impression about this episode last night?
I don't know a valid answer. It's a lot better by a country mile what we've been getting recently. I'm still kind of thinking about it. Definitely, it's the best that I've seen. And I actually quite liked it, but I don't know how to express that I liked it. Ruby and Millie smashed it out of the park. Really, I think one of the big reasons why I like it is how I'm learning that it was her first episode. I'm super impressed with her. She's going to have a great career after this, and I hope this doesn't tarnish her career going on, or if she goes over to the States.
No, she'll be fine. She's an actress, isn't she? She's going to be fine. You can see her acting there, Kirst. You know, she's going to be okay.
Hope she ends up something like a Karen Gillan and then ends up landing on something good after. Because with good material, she could chomp a bit with that. Yeah, I like those bits of it, like how with Carla and the Kate stuff, I found quite interesting. But it was just weird. I'm still thinking about it. I don't think when people are saying that it's the best thing and it's giving Turn Left and it's giving Blink, it's not up to that caliber. But it's still, it would be one that I might watch again compared to everything else recently.
Really?
But the one thing that annoys me is that people are saying watch it again to fully understand it. You don't need to watch Doctor Who episodes to understand it.
No.
So
Well, you shouldn't have to.
Yeah, parts of it is quite pretentious. I think the third act, when she's an elder lady and whatnot, and going through the video game hands, as I was calling it, is quite pretentious. But yeah, he needs to calm down with that. But I didn't miss the Doctor, which is quite sad. Disappointing. But yeah, it was the best out of Country Mile for sure. But really, it's still one of these. It's like a Star Trek episode that kind of leaves you thinking a few days later. But you don't need to watch it. It's one of these things you shouldn't watch again to fully understand, which annoys me. That's the one thing that's like ticking away at me as well. But definitely, I would maybe watch it again.
It would be interesting, Kirsty, if you do watch it again, if you still understand it, because I think, as somebody was saying there as well, the plot holes you can't get through plot holes. So the fact I was watching this thing, and then when I suddenly realised that the pub element was over, and then I thought, oh, because at some point I was expecting Anna and Bernard to walk into the pub as something, and when that didn't happen, and she's on a train and she's on her way back to London, I thought, oh, all right then, so that's over then. Oh, so it was a glorified cameo. Oh, and that was upsetting for me. I thought, oh, crazy, because I thought.
That upset me because I knew that you were excited for that.
Oh, bless you. Well, I was expecting, Kirsty, a performance of a typical eccentric British Doctor Who character of a certain age. I'm thinking here things like, the Seeds of Doom, the Stones of Blood, this sort of stuff, where we've got these wonderful, the demons, where these wonderful British eccentrics come in and they're supposed to be sort of witchy, or they're all-knowing, or they're a fabulous scientist, and only women of a certain age and a certain generation probably can pull that off. But if anyone could have done that, I thought it was going to be Dame Sian. And to see her disappear so quickly, I thought, oh, crikey. But then I just thought from there, the plot just sort of went, well, hang on a minute. Oh, look, we're jumping through time now.
Yeah, so it was another and then when it hits like with the 40 years later, it was like a school project that you're just trying to wrap up really quickly.
Yeah. You had too short a time to tell the story. That was the problem.
Yeah.
It could have been a two-parter or something like that, or longer, but
in the old days, you would have had 4 episodes to deal with this, and it might have made more sense if that was something. But because they're so constrained by getting it done within 40-45 minutes, whatever it was, I don't think it comes off. And there are certain writers that could possibly do that. And as I've said before, I don't think RTD is one of those writers now. I think he does need more time to do something like that, because this is a big idea he's had, and it just goes bang, 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 and it didn't sit with me slightly.
It could be a clever idea. I'm not hating on the episode compared to something like Devil's Cord, which can just burn in an extreme somewhere. But it just needed more time to be fleshed out. Stop being pretentious, and if you had a clever idea, just strip it back, and you don't need to add 6 million elements to it. You could have just kept it, and maybe made it a 2-parter. Do something else with it. Did anyone notice though in the pub? He needs to stop putting like little things like that with the guy with the eyeshadow on. And Jackie's like, he'll come for me. Like he knows it was something like he'll know because it's me. And I wasn't sure if that's.
I think that was part of the wind up for Ruby, wasn't it? Really, they were all trying to get at her, so they were winding her up to say, "Look, we're not, For a minute, actually, they got me in the gag as well, because she goes, "Can I pay with my phone?" And they're turning around thinking, they're saying to her, how do you pay with your phone? And I thought, oh, where's he landed at? What time zone is she in? Yeah. And then part of the guy, because that's Doctor Who for you, isn't it? As Doctor Who fans, you can look at that and go, well, God, she could be in the 80s for all she knows.
But I wasn't
being a Scotsman, though, surprised at £5 for a glass of Coke.
£5.
I wasn't sure, though, with the guy with the eyeshadow, when he said something about Mad Jack would come for someone like me. I wasn't sure if that was just him creeping in another political message. I sort of just rolled my eyes at that.
Yeah, possibly. Sam would agree with you here, Kirsty, as well. Sam, hello, Sam. Welcome to Who's Views. Quite like the first half, not the second. Bit of lazy writing if you don't have to work out what it all means at the end. You can just say you're leaving it up to the audience. Totally agree. I totally agree with that. I mean, because we all come to different conclusions, and then people like us and fans will always go on saying, what was that about now? And Jamie is saying to us, it was slightly confusing, but I think 73 yards is meant to be slightly ambiguous. I really enjoyed this one much more than most of the series. I think you might find most of us agree with you on that, Jamie. I enjoyed this more than what I have done with the other 3, including Boom. This was something else. It was more watchable, I feel, but it didn't feel like Doctor Who. And Dino is saying to us, Romana, his daughter, worked out the 73 yards distance before Ruby's not so clever dad. Yeah. So that whole thing about 73 yards. Okay.
I'm surprised that Ruby, being a millennial, that she's actually doing things in yards and not in a metric system, which maybe just to make the title sound interesting could be like, a metric version of that, could it really?
I just thought that was done for the Americans, if I'm honest.
Oh,
maybe,
that's a
yeah,
good point.
yeah.
It could possibly be, because a lot of other
It wouldn't
stuff
have
in there
changed
has
anything.
been.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have changed anything as meters, would it?
Yeah,
No.
look out for the next episode. It'll be tea and scones or something. It'll be called something like that. Yeah.
It is. I mean, they should always write for a British audience, because that's what our foreign audience likes. They like a British show made for British audiences. We know that because that's been proven over the decades, hasn't it? Michael, nice to see you, Michael. Michael Webster. Surely RTD will explain in the season finale what it was that old Ruby said to make all those people freak out. If he doesn't, then it's very unprofessional. Well, he has gone on in an interview over the weekend saying he's not going to. It's down to us. It's down to the individual to. I think she was saying it's £5 for a Coke in Wales. Wah!
Run. Yeah.
In Battlefield, a glass of water and a lemonade was £5. And
Yes,
that was quite a while ago. So maybe,
That was in the future, though, wasn't it? Meant to be.
Yeah, but that was 1989. So the future could have been 10
that
years ago.
future's been and gone now.
Yeah.
That honestly, that future has probably been and gone. I reckon that was around about now. So it's probably
Yeah.
Well, what Kirsty was saying about being pretentious and everything, do you think that's because possibly that there isn't really an effective script editor on Russell T Davies, because he can write what he likes? So if he goes off on a tangent, then that tangent goes off unchecked, doesn't it?
Yeah. And who's going to challenge him, Ian, as we've said before?
Yeah, nobody
Who's
can.
going to challenge him now?
I just thought it was really sad that they brought Kate Lethbridge Stewart in just to use her the exact same way they used everyone else. And that was the one bit of it, actually, that Richard, my husband, was like really annoyed about. He was like, she would not behave like that.
No. Yeah. And the fact that the character even says that unit now in its big modern multi-million-dollar pound, whatever it is going to be, incarnation, has all these things, all these gifts, they mentioned the silver, didn't they, from Battlefield and all this sort of stuff, the salt, and then and they still get whatever it was that happened, whatever older Ruby did to them. It still doesn't make sense.
No.
Do you know, I was really quite disappointed in that bit myself, because when that beautiful shot of Gemma, it is Gemma, isn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen her since Capaldi's time. Yes, do forgive me. So that beautiful of Mrs. Redgrave coming in and just sitting there, I went, oh, it's Kate, because I wasn't expecting her in this episode, because I wasn't looking at anything. I wasn't expecting it, and I thought this is where it's going to kick off. This is where it's going to get a little bit sort of exciting. It's going to drag her back to Wales. And something's going to happen.
And he just used it as another reason to make it mysterious again, which, to be fair, we'd had enough of that because it had happened several times. So it was just an overplay, and it didn't make any point of bringing Unit in at all. So that's where I felt he really missed the mark. That's where I felt it really, for me, ended up being not what it could have been.
Yeah, there was a lot of repetition. They did the same thing with her mother as well, didn't they? The same kind of shock tactics, which was a bit overkill, wasn't it?
See, this is what I was always going on before this thing started, wasn't it? RTD, and we saw this in 2005 onwards, he has this obsession with taking the viewer via the companion back to their family life. And it did continue a little bit into the Moffat era. And it winds me up. Get out into space and time and have an adventure like they used to do in our day. I don't understand this obsession with trying to get them back. In this story, I understand it, you would think, and she is young, the Doctor's disappeared, he's abandoned me. She didn't even want to know where he'd gone. How is he left? Why can't I get back into the TARDIS? Why doesn't my key work? She just left very quickly after a couple of days, got back on a train and went home. It was shallow for me. It was hollow.
I think they went back to the family so they could get Anita Dobson to make a wee cameo and go, oh, look, there's Anita Dobson as Mrs. Flood. Remember her? She's quite important. We've not seen her for 4 episodes, but here she is again, just to remind you.
That's a good point. Yeah. But I just can't stand all this going back into the modern day, because again, it dates the episodes.
Yeah.
And this had so much potential, and it fell short. Lynn, will we get a resolution later in the series? No. The episode seems shockingly underwritten. As I say, he said, no, it's down to us. And the best scene was in the inn and the old pub. 'Twas creepy, dark, brilliant, and very expensive. I would have been quite happy for an episode set in that set in the pub with those characters to be quite. And he's trying to find out who that woman was outside, but he just went off, didn't he? And Jacob is telling us here, hi, Jacob, really enjoyed the first half hour or so, but it fell apart at the end, though. And that's what you guys are saying here as well. It was several stories crammed into one, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely could have been 2 different episodes.
I think so.
Yeah.
Doctor Who 1963 is joining us. It's lovely to see you. I think it was like the Watcher idea from Logopolis, but written as a Welsh folklore episode instead. So I really liked it, even though Aneurin Barnard was wasted.
Yeah.
I'm still upset.
That was criminal. That was criminal.
Yeah, it really was. And if you haven't seen our shows from the other day as well, by the way, and in case you don't know, Aneurin Barnard was allegedly up for the role of the Doctor, which I would have loved because I really wanted him to be the Doctor. I think he just looks like my sort of version of the Doctor. So if it's true that he auditioned for it and he was beaten to the role, I'm a bit gutted by that. But, you know, the Doctor's had a face that he's seen in the past before. You never know what could happen next.
Yeah. He's on the subs bench just in case.
The role?
Sorry?
Paul?
I just said he's on the subs bench just in case to keep the football analogy going. Yeah. So.
I don't know.
But how could he have been beaten in an audition against Gatwa? I mean, seriously, what would Gatwa have done? Look, here I am modelling this jacket. Look, I'm wearing a skirt. Honey. Oh, you're in. You've got the job.
Well, that's probably it.
Never mind this acting chisel.
Let's face it, that is probably it. That could be it. I mean, we talked about this on headlines recently as well, didn't we? But yeah, let's have a look and see what you're saying in the chat. It is lovely to see you all. We've got fantastic amount of people watching this here. Please, if you're not in the chat and you can come into the chat, come and join them. They're a friendly bunch, so come and join the chat. We've got here Michael. In 73 yards, it says 2031 is the Great Russian War, and I said, what the RTD? Well, that's showing where we are today in 2024, though, doesn't it? Really, he's reflecting the sort of concern we have today that that's possibly around the corner. Not that people like show business are doing anything else apart from. I'm not going there. Actually, I won't finish that. And Daz is saying to us, Doctor, the TARDIS can go anywhere, time and space, but welcome to Wales 2024. Yeah, it did seem a bit. It did seem a bit. Clunky.
Well, Wales has become the home counties, hasn't it? Really, between the 70s, you know. So now Wales is the new UK, but we visit instead of the world.
Yeah, it's the new London. And just Jordan's here. Not sure what that was, but it wasn't Welsh folk horror. I know what you mean. What did your dad think? What did your dad think, Just Jordan? Let us know what your dad thought of this one. Has he seen it yet? And Mike Disney is with us saying it still all looks what's this? Stills all look like they're out of a catalogue. Okay, sorry, I don't know what that's saying there. I can't read that one properly. But thank you for your comment anyway. Richard is with us. Hello, Richard. Nice to see you. Good evening, folks. So how awful was it this week? We're just discussing that. You are watching Who's Views Reviews. It's nice to see you. We are reviewing 73 Yards, the Dr. Light episode of this particular series. Dr. Light, 4 episodes in.
Halfway through.
Halfway through? We're halfway
my
through.
God, yeah.
Michael is saying to us here, Michael Webster, the best thing about the episode is that Shooty was hardly in it, but Millie showed she can act. I think we're all agreed that she carried this episode superbly. What a cracking little actress this young lady is.
Do you think that's why they're getting rid of her? Because she's too much of a challenge to Gatwa?
He's upstaging him.
Yeah. Allegedly. Everything's alleged. But she really is. I mean, she nailed this, didn't she? She really, really. I mean, this was the tour de force that we had in Blink, really, carrying this whole episode, repeated itself to this extent. I mean, she should be very proud of herself for actually achieving what she achieved in this episode, because she came off through the various ages of her character slightly differently. Okay, they didn't put her in makeup and stuff, which they would have done a few short years ago to show the change in age. But it was the way she held herself. It was the way she was talking. She got it. I mean, the big glasses as well helped to a little extent as well. You know, she should be very proud of herself.
She actually said online that they were slagging her on in behind the scenes and stuff, because she actually asked for a movement coach to learn her to move like she was someone in her 40s.
Yeah.
She was like someone sits like this in their 70s. And then, like, the producers and whatnot were like, "You're joking that you hired someone like 40s, he sits slightly like this." So she really went home on it. And then online on her personal social account, she's been so lovely about it. She's just like, thank you to everyone who sent just like beautiful, lovely messages, like, and like a big, nice, long paragraph that how it was really special, and it was one of the first things that she was given the script to really get her teeth into, and it really helped her kind of, because it was the first one as well. She didn't know what to expect, so it was just like a Hail Mary, and it really helped her to just get into this whole Doctor Who experience.
Well,
So,
I say good for her. She was professional enough to realise that you know the movement changes as you grow older, and good for her as a young actress. Brilliant.
Difference. When you're 40, you don't behave like you're 75. I don't think it came across. I think she got her money back for that part of a workshop on movement, I think, to be honest.
I still don't understand, Who viewers, how Ruby became the old woman and then back to Ruby.
Yeah,
can you clear this up for me, please? Answers on a postcard. No, if you can pop it into the chats. If you've come to, because I'm still bewildered how that happened. You know, and what got to me today as well, looking at some of the fans' reaction to this, and a lot of the fans going on, oh, it was brilliant, the best thing, as I said, it's brilliant, blah 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 blah, and I'm going, okay, I've missed something here. And then a couple of fans going on, you don't need, basically suggesting you don't need to understand the story to understand that, because it's supposed to be a ghost story. And I think, hang on, even a ghost story has a way for you. Look at The Others, that film from all those years ago. You get that like that, don't you? That Bruce Willis thing from years ago with the little boy. I see dead people. The story helps you to understand that twist in the end. I don't think there was that element here. And they're saying there are. Am I going insane?
Well, I didn't click with me. I didn't get it. I mean, I understood, obviously, it was Millie's an old person at the end, and then she dies, and then she's in this kind of loop. But that's all I got from it. I didn't understand how, as you said, GT, how she could be watching herself. I don't understand that when she might be dead. I don't understand that anyway. But
that whole bit in the hospital threw me as well, where she reaches out. She suddenly realizes it's herself, and she reaches out. Theory, Jodie. I mean, what your daughter said that she had a theory. Go on, tell us.
She thought Richard and I were thick for not getting it. She got quite annoyed with us, actually.
Is this something?
Richard and I were discussing it in the kitchen today, and we were like, I didn't really get that. It's kind of weird. Need to watch it again. And she was like, oh, for God's sake.
Well, what did
it was obvious.
Well, her theory is that I guess that the old woman was Ruby way earlier in the episode. So I'll take credit for that. I did get that. But she says, well, of course she was there when they came out the TARDIS that second time, and they didn't break into the fairy ring, and the old woman stopped them from doing that, and so it never happened.
Yeah, but how did she get there in the first place then?
What do you mean?
So what we've done with her theory, we've slipped into two different time zones. We're going to get really Spanish now, everybody.
It's
We're
a
going to get
paradox.
geeky now.
That's what it
yeah,
is.
It's a paradox. So in the first one, the ring was broken, so therefore it created Ruby's alternative future, where she's become whatever it is. She's become this mystical, powerful thing where she can scare people by telling them the price of a can of Coke or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the second one, because she's there to stop herself, to stop the Doctor breaking the string circle.
Well, she's actually she's sending me texts. I've asked her to come down. I think it would be better coming from her. But she
fabulous!
Says,
I like that.
This is what she says. Well, do you remember when Rose Tyler touched herself as a baby and it altered the universe, and her dad came back? It reminds me of that.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yes.
This is from Sophie, not me.
Thanks, Sophie. Yep.
It's like she came into contact with herself, and the world changed. Like she went back into time, and that.
But there was an influence, wasn't there? That physical contact with herself does Blinovich and all that malarkey, energy and everything. But what was the influence here? What was the power here that caused that paradox in the first place? Because otherwise, it was just a piece of bloody string, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Well, that's the problem. He didn't explain any of it. It was
that's what happens. I won't go in.
It was a 2-episode
timey-wimey string, Ian.
I mean, it was very nice string. Don't get us wrong. We don't want to string it. We're not stringophobes or stringists or stringots. We're not nothing like that at all. Very nice string. But
he's stringing us along. That's the only blasted string he's got.
Yes, he's here. Yeah, he's here. Well done, Ian. Well done. Is that Sophie now? Does she want to come on and explain?
She is here, yes. Yeah, she's here.
Hello. Right.
Have you got a degree in Doctor Who? It's very good if you have. Anyway.
Go on, tell us what you thought.
Well, I don't know. I actually typed a comment. It reminded me of I think it's called the grandfather paradox thing, where it's kind of like, it's a different explanation for it, but it's like a time loop where, I don't know how to explain it. It was in the Umbrella Academy.
Oh, there you
But it
go.
was like, it was saying like, if someone went back in time and basically killed their grandfather, it would mean that they would never be alive to go back and kill
The
their
butterfly
grandmother.
effect as well.
And it creates this whole time loop.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of that. There was a lot that wasn't explained though. So yeah.
Yeah, we're saying the same.
Yeah.
Not that wasn't explained.
So I don't really have the answers, but theories.
Neither
but
does
not really
Russell T
answers.
Davis, does he?
Oh, well, thanks for that, Sophie. I'm now more confused than ever.
You're welcome.
I'd have Sophie write a script actually, because she'd do a better damn job of it.
I think we should. I think we should actually. Yes, that would be great, wouldn't it? Here, Divining Dragon is saying to us, guys, if no one knows what happened, it's a sign of bad writing.
Yeah.
Very true. I mean, there is this thing that we've got here as well, that it's all flashes and whistles, isn't it? Really, and it looks good to an extent. I still have a problem with whatever they're using to film the thing. It doesn't look quite right to me. These lovely sets and things they've got are looking a little bit plasticky in my eyes. I just don't know what I think it would be better on some sort of film. I don't know what they're using, but you will in the chat. Paul is saying to us here, I'm still not sold on her. I think this was Millie. I think the quality is just so low now that mediocre stands out as excellent in DisneyWho. Martin, hello to Martin Brown. Nice to see you. Welcome to Who's View. 73 yards, top episode, and Millie smashed it. Yeah, okay. Thank you for that, Martin. And Lynn is also agreeing with us. Millie did brilliantly. I'm very confident this young lady has a fabulous career ahead of her. I mean, she's known to millions through Corrie. Now she's known to not as many through Doctor Who.
It's just a dozen or so.
Yeah, I still think she's going to have a fantastic, and good for her. And if she ever does something live, I will probably invest and go and see her. Michael Webster is saying to us, I agree with JT. Oh, you're so good. That Sean Phillips and Arnold were not in the episode enough. Both great performances. I'm not going to get over that for ages, Jode. I'll tell you.
No, well, to be fair, it was so beautiful, that whole pub scene, and there was so much that could have been got out of those characters, and there was no backstory, and we didn't find out about the characters, and I don't know. And
they were gone. They were gone. And the whole thing about Anurin's character as well, that's obviously a dig at, I think, all politicians in 2024, the career politicians that we all know and don't particularly like, they are everywhere now. It's all about them, isn't it, really? They don't care about the country or the issues that they've got. They jump on a bandwagon, etc., etc. And this one's coming through, as the Doctor says before he vanishes to who knows where he vanishes to in his lovely duffel. It's a case of, like, he says, oh, he's the worst and the evilest prime minister that Britain ever has. So Ruby's got to be in that position to stop him. And she clicks later on when she hears about it, doesn't she? Oh, I've got to stop him because he's going to cause a nuclear war. I wish it had just been more in the narrative to explain that to not just us as fans, but what did the general viewing public think of this? Is this going to be enough to bring them back next Saturday for Dot and Bubble?
Probably not.
I don't think the public will consider how long in advance this was filmed. They'll probably just think, here's a thing about somebody getting elected, and they've just called a general election, and he's trying to be topical. I think
some of them might look at that and say that. Absolutely. Yeah, that could be the case, couldn't it? Again, it was bad timing for them, wasn't it, really? Down to Disney's insistence. Barry Stroud is saying to us here, I think the woman was whispering there's going to be a second season. That was
very funny.
Barry. And Dad is saying to us, we don't know where the Doctor went, but can he go back and stay there? Ooh, scathing, Dad's Blue, scathing. Alien Airplanes is saying to us, at the same time, though, it's good for people to think for themselves and come up with their own theories. I do agree with that, but I think a little bit more of a narrative would have helped us to come to some sort of awareness. Like, if you look at the stuff that we got in the fantastic Blink, it was so clever because you realized how everything fit together by the end. You suddenly went, oh, that's what's happened. He's gone back to that time, and this has happened, and this has happened, and there we are there. And it didn't really have the same thing. There's too many questions around this episode for me.
I think it's important to remember that the audience can have theories, but if you go back to the season 26 and look at Ghostlight, for instance, that when that came
Careful.
out, pardon?
Careful, I love that episode.
I know, but a lot of people thought it was quite convoluted and needed to explain, or you have to watch it a few times to get into it and understand it. And it's a great story, don't get me wrong, but I think it needs to be, you need to have some explanation. You can't just leave it hanging. That's just really, really, really lazy, I think,
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's true. And especially when again, it could show there was an awful lot that was set up for this episode that I think could have been superb. This could have been a proper sort of thriller, horror, suggestive Doctor Who thing, like the Zygon story, Terror of the Zygons, or anything like that. It could have been that sort of, even the android invasion from back in the day, for heaven's sake. That lovely sort of, we're all stuck in this little village in the middle of nowhere, and there's a folklore threat going on. That sort of thing. That's what I was expecting. But you've got this whole thing here where it just seemed to be, I don't know, not going from A to B to C.
Yeah.
And I think that's a shame when you've got a viewing public now coming in or not coming in. Will it have engaged them? Will it have caught their imagination? Your lead character's not even in it.
I mean, if it gets explained by episode 8, if the viewers are still watching, if it's not gone down to 500,000 viewers, then if you get a resolution, then that may be more satisfying. But if you don't, it's just like, what?
I don't think you're going to get a resolution because he has said he's not going to.
He also makes everything. He makes loads of stuff really convoluted and really confusing. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, there's parts of now Doctor Who I just can't get my head around it anymore. There's stuff that's just, and that's a bit wearing if you're a fan. It's like, no, I really just want to get it. I don't want to have to, the timeless child and it's just...
That's it. If fans don't get it, then what's the general public going to do? You know what I mean? It's
I just feel it's making itself so niche now that in itself is a real concern, because what you want to do is you want a family to sit down, turn it on and go, oh, that was really good, I enjoyed that, not to have to understand masses of backstory and weird references that are very, very niche and just an in joke. That that's what worries me about the Doctor Who at the moment.
Well, yeah, I get that. And this particular episode, the fact it didn't even have the iconic theme tune, it didn't have the title sequence, and it didn't have the lead character in. Anybody could have come in within this episode and thought, "What's this I'm watching?"
Yeah, and I mean, if you're making this comparison, well, it is a comparison, but it's not in a way. But with Blink, they were very clever about how they kept Tennant in the episode through the Easter eggs on the DVDs. And although he was not in it much, there was a real thought, a huge amount of thought went into that story. That story is so beautifully told and so beautifully written. And the characterizations, of her friend that went backwards in time and met the guy, in sort of the early 1900s. That was beautiful all on its own as a story.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
It never came near that, sadly.
No.
And at least the Doctor had a continuity, and his contribution, however small, was quite important to the story, and it really helped it along. Whereas Ncuti was just at the start and at the end and kind of shoehorned in a little bit, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do know why Ncuti wasn't in this episode. We'll come to that in a few minutes. Hello to Doug, who's joining us here. Hi all, I quite enjoyed 73 Yards. More Black Mirror than Doctor Who, but I have no idea what it was about. That's the whole thing. I think a lot of us are in that, and even these people that are saying it's the best thing ever, I think they've got to be honest to say, well, what was it about then? Because I don't think they can actually tell us either. And John is here with us, John Cartwright, saying hi. Gammon here.
Yeah, totally.
Shades of American Werewolf in England. Yes, it was only later on that I got that as well, actually, because it was familiar, that bit. And you're right, it was the American Werewolf scenes, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was American Werewolf, and it was a bit Local Hero, and it was also a bit the other pub scene. Oh God, what was it that I was thinking? Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man
as well.
Yeah, the Wicker Man. Yeah, that's very.
So it needed to be in Scotland, for God's sake. We do those pub scenes so well.
North Yorkshire.
If it was a Wicker Man, they would set fire to the TARDIS probably at the end.
It was on a cliff and everything, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Raymond is saying to us here, once they left Wales, it went downhill, Spirit and Ghost. I know what you mean about that, Raymond, as well, because had they stayed in the Wales and Ruby had somehow showed, oh gosh, I don't think there was any loyalty to the character of the Doctor from Ruby at all, because she just left. She just left. I think previous assistants, from what I know, previous companions would have stayed. This is where he disappeared, and I am staying here again until he reappears. I need to find out why. I think that and Ruby just went after a couple of days because she wasn't welcome. She got on a train and went home. Thank goodness she's got money on her phone. So you've got all that sort of stuff going there. And then she lives a life for 60 years or whatever it was in London, and carries on with it. And in her 40s or 50s or wherever she is, that's when she suddenly realizes, I've got to stop this. But not once does she, is it written that she has to think about possibly going back to the TARDIS or connecting the mystery to what happened there. And I think you've got a great point there as well, mate, because had they stayed in Wales and she'd aged and got something around that area and lived there, it would have been an ongoing narrative about her through her decades, finding out what happened to the Doctor.
It would have been a bit like The Girl Who Waited with Amy. Remember that one she did when she was talking on the planet and she aged? It would be a bit like that, which would be more interesting, I think, if it was.
I just don't think it did Ruby any favors at all.
But do you think he thinks about the characters at all and how they would behave in that situation? I don't think he writes characters like that. I think he's just, I don't think he does proper characterizations and thinks, well, how would that person behave? I think he just does everything to serve whatever goal he's got in his head, which honestly is not clear to anyone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think you've got a point. I think that's where he's got to now, with the fact that he's trying to. I sometimes think he is so now obsessed with elevating Doctor Who on this global platform that we know he's up there. There's Sophie's comment, by the way. Sophie, who came in to see Jodie just there. That's her comment there. Thanks for that, Soph. I think he's so busy now trying to look, we've got to be competing against the other Disney shows and Marvel and Star Trek and whatever it is, and we've got to elevate it up. And they completely forget that the thing that makes Doctor Who so special is its Britishness, its ability to tell a story, and its quintessential enjoyment of the story playing out in a way that the audience can participate in. They can engage with it. You know, it welcomes anybody in from all walks of life. Noodle Arms is with us, everyone. Hello. I think that RTD is trying to do non-linear storytelling, like it was more like in the late 1980s, and it's not working.
No. But the whole thing at the beginning, you know, the bit about Mad Jack and all that.
Yeah.
Why bother having it?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I don't get that. What was that about?
Like so many stories in this story, and they don't gel. I don't understand it. I just don't understand what he was thinking. Why do you bring up something never to deal with it again? That's just random. Is he that random now?
No, it seems to be. I mean, explain the Mad Jack to me, because that's gone over my head. Mad Jack was the nickname of a Nurem Bernard's character. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense where the ring was and why then at all.
Because Mad Jack was dead and that was a memorial, but Mad Jack came into being 20 odd years later.
Yes.
Yeah, so why was it relevant to him in the first place? Yeah.
I really don't get that, and even a Luke story doesn't explain that. It's just mental.
And was it established, guys? Because again, it's gone over my head. Ruby stops Mad Jack, Nurem Bernard's character, at the Cardiff Stadium somehow, because she brings her future self, which I assume she's starting to realize this could be her future self or something like that at some point. I don't know, but she does the 73 yards thing, and the future Ruby tells him the price of Coke, and he runs off. He just goes, "Oh my God, no, I'm not paying that much," and he runs off. And is it explained then what happens when time is reset in however way it was, and the dimensions split up again, and we get back to another world where the Doctor is still there? Where is he? Where is Mad Jack and Nurem Bernard in that other reality?
It's not explained. That's the problem.
So is he still a danger? Are we now in a different universe? Are we now in a parallel universe? Could that be the situation now? If so, he hasn't explained any of this. Are we still in the same universe as Doctors 1 to 7, for example, now? Doctors 1 to 8.
It's like he thinks he's so clever, but it actually isn't clever. It's like just not good enough.
We're all confused here on the panel for for this particular edition of 73 Yards. I hope you're enjoying the conversation here. Gareth is saying to us, according to Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, the Doctor's adventures are all supernatural now, not alien or scientific. I caught that reference too. The part where she sits out, it's happening more and more. The supernatural's happening more and more now. And I thought, no, that's your spin-offs. Doctor Who is sci-fi. It's the monsters, isn't it? It's the blah, 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 blah. Your spin-offs should be more supernatural.
Even though it's supernatural, you still have to explain in the narrative what's going on, whether it's supernatural or not. You know what I mean?
Medlin Funk is telling us, if JT, Paul and Ian take their glasses off, they'll look 20 years younger, according to the Doctor Who makeup department.
There we go. How about that? There we are.
Can't see a bloody thing now on the screen, but there you go.
21-year-olds.
But thanks for that, Medlin Funk. Let's have a look here. Romana 8, age 8, says Dino V, still loves Leeds United. Romana 8 loved the mystery of the person being 73 yards away all the time, and you never got to see the face of the mysterious person. It was scary. And Andrew Birch is joining us and saying, we really need new writers desperately. You know, I'm going to agree with him. I don't know what you guys are going to think. I'm going to agree with Andrew there. I think this is
completely.
But we've got some new ones coming through in a couple of weeks' time, haven't we? So let's see how they fare.
Well, if you look at classic Who, every story was written by a different writer, just about, wasn't it? You know, and that had the variety. Likewise with the music, the soundtrack. You know, you had a different composer each story, so it had a different feel. It wasn't all the same person doing the same thing. So it had a lot of variety, which made it more interesting, didn't it?
It really did, yeah. And that was the beauty of it, because there were more ideas here. The way they've been doing it now, and especially with this series, because it's so truncated, and the next series, he's written practically all of it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think already it's beginning to show, because we had those 3 things with Tennant, we had the Christmas thing, and now we've got this.
There's lots of elements of repetition. It's like we said, the pub sequence was good, but it had echoes of Midnight. So you can see all these things coming through, that he's got connection to other episodes that he's done already, or episodes of Moffat he's stolen from, whatever. So you can see lots of repetition coming, and he's running out of ideas, I think, a little bit.
I think you've got something there, because you do notice it, and it becomes a bit boring, doesn't it? Because you just think, hang on, this is not the greatest hits of the last however many years of Doctor Who. What is it? Nearly 20 years, actually. Yeah, this is not a greatest hits package over the next 2 series. It's supposed to be fresh. This is supposed to be the most invested in financially Doctor Who ever. This should be exciting. This should be available and able to bring in all ages, all cultures, all backgrounds, everybody that wants to have a good time with the Time Lord battling monsters. And this one, even though I'm not going to really push it down, because I did enjoy it. I just don't think it felt like Doctor Who, and I don't get it. Anyway,
yeah, I enjoyed lots of bits of it, and I thought there's some good performances in it. But like you say, it didn't feel like Doctor Who at all. They've lost what is to be Doctor Who, I think, for me personally.
Well, Go Vidal is saying to us here, I think the toy maker has given Davies license to have anything take place, like a spontaneous musical, dancing, the maestro, the Doctor disappearing, snow, without the characters wondering why. That's snow. There's another one of these little herring things he's got going on through the entire series since Christmas. The snow around Ruby all the time. And it's lingering. And is it going to pay off? Is it going to be a big thing?
It's like his English teacher told him about a running image in a book, and he's just going to go with that forever.
Yeah.
But not actually understanding that there has to be a real, key moment about the running image. It has to have meaning, real meaning, not just a weird nonsense that's never going to be explained.
This is the guy, Joe, that brought us Bad Wolf.
Yeah, I know. And
Torchwood in the second year, and Mr. Saxon, which is actually brought in first time round in The Runaway Bride, and then comes in after that, and it pays off. Mr. Saxon is the master. Oh, spoilers! But it's that sort of thing. This one, I don't think we're going to get that exciting resolution, because there's so many little bits and pieces. And how's he all going to bring it together in a two final episodes?
We've got. I'll carry on to season 2, no doubt. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now we know that. Do you know what? I was going to bring that up, because now we know that Millie Gibson is in series 2 and Ruby is staying into series 2. And he has said Ruby Sunday's story is far from over. What's the reckoning?
Yeah. how to milk it and drag it out as long as you can.
And yet that's not going to work because people haven't been coming to it, is it? So they might see the story evolving because they've done it back to back, and we now know that they have wrapped on series 2. That's them done. That's them done now with Doctor Who until it's confirmed it's going for a third. Now they'll go and do the Sea Devils thing, everybody, during the summer. So that's Doctor Who wrapped just before the weekend now. And it's all right for them because they get to see the whole thing playing out. But it's a long time for us to wait if they're going to start broadcasting series 2 next year and they don't pay it off by the end of this season, isn't it?
You know, he steals from so many things. Maybe there's an outside chance that he'll go for Peter Capaldi in the shower like Bobby Ewing in Dallas.
Yes.
And all been a bad dream. We kind of wish.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine that? Capaldi doing his pertwee. That would be quite funny. Hello to Lady of Tarkin. Nice to see you. Hi, everyone. I liked the first part tonally. I think we all did on that one. Before all the years and years stuff with the politician. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, actually. Years and years stuff with the politician. That's a very good way of putting it. And T-Matt is saying to us, this would all be info that makes me excited, but it's the same people giving us this right now, so I'm scared. Yeah, I know what you're saying about that one as well. I don't know. Keep your comments coming, everybody. You are joining us here at Who's Views. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you're very welcome. It's free to subscribe, so please subscribe to us and ring that bell to make sure you get notifications of all our future shows coming along for you, whether they be live or recorded. And while you're there, why not go and spend some time looking at all our playlists? We've got some fantastic shows there for you. Hello to Papa Hemlock. Disney have seen the viewing figures and seen the social media reaction. I feel like I should have some sort of dum 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 going around that, actually. Some sort of, yes, possibly, but are they going to be upset? Are they going to be elated? Are they going to be whatever? Are they going to be one of these people that they just go, ugh, not interested? You know, I don't know. I'm sure it's all going to come out shortly. I want to say hello and welcome to Who's Views to Humans Call Me Steve, who was saying, I agree with Kirsty. I'm sad, but I didn't miss the Doctor at all. I think the majority of us didn't miss them.
It definitely Doctor Who. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, it came to something when you actually suddenly realise when he comes back, oh, he hasn't been in this.
Yeah.
And you haven't missed him.
Yeah.
Imagine if that was Tom Baker. You'd be bereft, wouldn't you? You'd just like, oh my God, how dare they make an episode without Tom Baker?
It would never happen. It would never happen for it. We do know, by the way, why Shooty was not in the episode. So we'll go to this now, if we may. With this from Den of Geek. Doctor Who, why Shooty Gatwa's Doctor isn't in 73 Yards. 4 episodes into the new series and the Doctor disappears. They continue with this just when the new Doctor's adventures had started to flow from outer space to 1960s England to war-torn future planets. In new episode 73 Yards, he vanishes. 1 minute, the Doctor's there, enthusing about the Welsh landscape, and the next, gone, leaving companion Ruby to work out her next moves alone. In the story, the Doctor's absence from 73 Yards is explained by magic. He accidentally steps on and breaks a fairy circle. There we go, everybody. After Ruby's butterfly opener. Yeah. Those two really need to start treading more carefully, according to Den of Geek here. I think they've got a point there. The circle's charm is released, and though the TARDIS remains as a monument, the Doctor is removed to parts unknown. After a bit of a timeline-averting rewind, though, back he comes at the end, and it's business as usual next week. That's typical of an RTT resolution, though, but we'll come to that in a sec. The article keeps going on. In the real world, the Doctor had to be absent from 73 Yards because Ncuti Gatwa had a schedule clash. His commitment to film the final series of Netflix's high school comedy drama Sex Education fell at the same time as the first block of Doctor Who's Series 14 filming in December 2022 to January 2023. Sex Education filming wrapped on February the 10th, 2023, and Gatwa confirmed his final day of filming that month in a since-deleted Instagram post. Therefore, the new companion, Millie Gibson, took up the reins in Gatwa's absence, and 73 Yards was the first Series 14 episode she filmed. For new viewers, it's worth knowing that the same thing has happened before on Doctor Who, either due to schedule clashes or in the pre-Disney Plus funding days because of a need to film 2 episodes simultaneously for reasons of budget economy. Necessity has proved the mother of invention on more than one occasion, and the requirement to film a Doctor Light episode has resulted in some real favourites, from Blink to Turn Left to everybody's number one top pick, Love and Monsters. Oh, Den of Geek, you are funny.
The thing about this is most actors get availability checks for jobs before they get them, but obviously they were desperately keen to get him. But couldn't they have rescheduled it to make it work with the Doctor in it? Because as much as I enjoyed Millie in this, I think the Doctor being missing is a big misstep because he's only done 4 episodes or 5 episodes. It seems really, really stupid.
And there's only 8 episodes in the series now, 2 of which we got on the same day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going to make no impact whatsoever because he's hardly there,
Yeah, you can afford to do a Doctor Light when there's 13 episodes in a series, not when there's 8.
No, if you got a season of 42, maybe, but not 13.
Yeah.
At least Wayne Horton had an excuse to have a week off. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, you see, these youngsters today wouldn't be able to do what Harper and Troughton were doing, would they? Oh no, they were working all the bloody time, love. Another disappointment then, says Richard. Oh bless. And Limey Kins, hello to you. In this episode, who missed the Doctor? No one. That is the shame of the episode, which makes it good. It makes you think. It's going to be interesting to see if it does affect our appreciation of this Doctor this early in. Do you know what I mean?
I think he's just. You'll carry on.
So I was going to say this a bit flippant remark. I was going to say that what was the Doctor doing was shoot his Doctor in the TARDIS wardrobe, trying clothes on. That's what he's doing.
I just think there's been it's this way they've made him so. His colloquialisms are all so 2024. He's not alien, and that's the bit that's worrying me, and that's why I think I didn't miss him, because I was like, every time he says something that's really 2024, it jolts me back into thinking he's not the Doctor, and the writing is really poor. His scripts are really poor, or his lines are really poor.
That's again, it goes back to what I always say about RTD. He only understands how to write for the year he's going to broadcast the show. It has to be everything there. You'll look back now at 1999's Queer as Folk. That's dated now because it's set then. It really is set in that day. You look at 2005's Doctor Who. It's set in 2005. The bits in 2006.
I think he got away with it more then, though, Justin, because it was better.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he did then, but it's the same pattern. So actually, I think if you're going to look at anything that he's just done now in 5 years' time, never mind 50, you're going to go, "Ooh, it's a bit slow. It's a bit boring." Oh. Do you know what I mean? I just don't. I don't think it's going to stand the test of time.
It's just he's like an author that, and I have authors I could say this about, but it's like he's an author that did all these good stuff, and now he's like just running out of ideas, and his stuff is not anything like what it was, because they're not prepared to. He's not prepared to really think and admit that he is running out of ideas.
Yeah, maybe.
Sorry, JT. What would it say if this episode is the highest rated of the season?
Embarrassing.
The one with
the Doctor
hardly in it. Yeah. If it's the highest rated without Gatwa in it.
We'll have to see what the consolidated are. We will be talking about that obviously when they come through. But I get what you're saying there, Ian, about that, because I think if people did leave the television on after the football, because this could have been playing in pubs for all we know. And if it wasn't a pub, no one's going to be taking any notice of this, let's face it, on a Saturday night. But if people did pay attention to this at some point during the show and there's no Doctor in it, I think it would have taken... I mean, you didn't even have the TARDIS in it. From the very beginning, the odd bit there, as soon as she gets to London, the TARDIS isn't there. So as you guys are all saying, this could have been anything. If somebody had come in halfway through this episode, what is this? What's BBC One playing?
It's like you're turned over to Midsummer Murders or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or something that should be on at Channel 4 at 8 o'clock, like somebody was mentioning Black Mirror there. Because it had that sort of feel, in a sense.
It is. This was more Black Mirror than what they're trying to be next week, because next week they're doing a copy of, it looks like a copy of the episode that Bryce Dallas Howard was in of Black Mirror. One of the first few.
Well, it looks like they're doing Macro Terror all over again, though.
Well, it does really, doesn't it? Yeah.
Concepts of like being always on visual and everything's online. It'll be an algorithm for AI and technology again, but it's looking like Bryce Dallas Howard's episode. A poor man's version of it, but this was more Black Mirror than what they're trying for next week.
Well, it's kind of 1984 all over again, isn't it, really?
I don't know. Dividing Dragon is here with us saying this had the feel of a first draft. he didn't bother to return to it to improve it. And that ties in with our theory that there should be stronger script editors there to say, actually, when you read this, it doesn't come across properly to... Surely when they're doing the read-through, though, guys, when they're all around in the rehearsal room, as it was, and they're reading through this, surely somebody somewhere suddenly goes, what's going on?
I don't think they dare. I think they'll be reading through and they'll be thinking to themselves, this really doesn't make sense. But they'll be saying out loud, Russell, this is wonderful. This is wonderful.
We said this before, they don't have any proper rehearsals anymore. So you don't have 2 weeks of rehearsal to analyse the script in any way, to find out where the plot holes are and try and mend them and make sense of them in the story. There's no time to do that. So if there's one read through, one draft, that's it, no script editor, then you've no chance whatsoever, have you?
No, you get the impression he's like a manager. He's surrounding himself with people who just agree with him, and I think it shows in a sense, because he's not being told, oh, this isn't working, try this, or something innovative being put in place. But the thing that I think is really sad about it all is they've seemed to have missed the point that Doctor Who is also about the monsters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they were as part of the show as much as the Doctor. And you can go a couple of weeks without a monster, so to speak, but there isn't really. Have there been any really? Because the first one was a snot monster, which wasn't a monster. It just needed understanding.
Exactly.
And,
it needed a bit of
and being
counselling.
petted and looked after.
Yeah, exactly.
And the second one, was that a monster? To me, it wasn't particularly scary. I mean, it was overacted. It was. I would argue that it wasn't like The Master. Let's put it that way. It didn't have an array of menace. To me, it just was very, very over the top acting. And then the third one, the ambulances came close.
Yeah.
But still not. And I agree with Wee Romana, that lady in the distance blurred and you couldn't quite make out who she was. That's been the scariest so far, but that turned out to be Ruby, not a monster.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was going on. RTD was saying that this in this particular story, there's going to be a villain or whatever he called it. I'm paraphrasing now, not quoting that you'd never forget. And it's just, Jodie, you've just made me realize what he means by that. It's the fact that it was actually Ruby. So we were not going to forget that. I still don't understand how that worked. We'll go with Sophie's thing though. It created them breaking the circle with the string, created an alternative timeline where the Doctor wasn't in it.
Yeah.
I still don't know how. What made him disappear?
Well, they did that already, didn't they, with the butterfly in episode 1 with Space Babies? They did that as well, didn't they? They had that jumping back and forward, with changing time and stuff. So maybe that's going to be a recurring theme.
It's bloody hard work.
It is. And to be fair, I've already did a sarky comment. I can't remember which kid it was that said it. It was like, is everything going to be about stepping on things now?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
But this is what you wish for. Yeah.
I think if they're making everything more supernatural and magic now, then there doesn't have to be explanations, does there? It could just be the sonic screwdriver is now just a Harry Potter wand, and it's just fairy dust and pixie dust and magical things happen, in which case it has genuinely gone to shit.
And that's where we are, Joe. In case you don't know, Russell has said that he wants to make this current version that he's doing more fantastical. He wants it to be more fantasy and magical. Yeah, he wants to take it away from that. And I personally believe that that's simply because science fiction is problematic, which is why I don't think we're getting the Daleks anytime soon. Because when you look at it, the Daleks are just bottles of hate who will zap anybody at all, and that's problematic. You mentioned it yourself there about the snot monster. All it needed was a good hug and some counselling and listening to. That's how they're trying to resolve all this stuff. So we've got another example here with 73 Yards, where everything just sort of reverted back to how it was, and everybody's all lovey-dovey and everything's fine with the universe again because
I'm surprised they didn't sort out the snot monster with a lemsip and some paracetamol or something,
But what planet do they live on? I mean, seriously, that isn't the way the real world is.
No, but they don't want to acknowledge that, do they? Because the real world doesn't tally with how they want us to. Stuart is with us here, actually. Sadly, I can't join you live tonight, guys, but I'm now relying on you lot to fill me in on whether anything improves in the show, as I refuse to give them a viewing figure by watching. Oh, the responsibility. The responsibility. I would actually say, Stu, for this one, for 73 yards, it's worth a look.
Yeah.
Out of the 4 we've had so far, 5 including the Christmas special, 8 including those awful things with Tennant, I'd actually say, yeah, go and have a look at this, and then have a think. Do you think it was Doctor Who? What you know? Yeah, I'd say go and have a look at this one. Out of all of them this season, that's the one. What we got here? Michael is saying to us here as well. Michael Q. My favourite moment is Ruby Sunday meeting Kate Stewart, also known as Ruby's birth mum.
Nah, don't think so.
No, that's another wild theory, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I've not heard that one. Is that what's going around the fandom at the moment? Is it interesting?
Well, you know what it's like. She's probably the Rani, you know.
Yeah, Just Jordan is saying to us here, I confirm it's not £5 for a Coke in Wales. Thank you for that.
It's £4.75 there,
Doug is saying to us here, Bernard had heaps of mystery and gravitas, and he would have been an excellent Doctor. I've seen him in a comedy, Dead in a Week or Your Money Back, and he does that well too. He is a brilliant actor, and as I say, I'm slightly gutted there wasn't more of them. I would have liked him and Dame Sean in a scene together. How brilliant would that have been? Because I was expecting Anna and Bernard to come into the pub at some point and all the action going on there. So when they get that scene where the somebody at the door, I thought, oh, this is Anna and Bernard coming in, and he's going to be something big and magical. And I'm going to.
What would have been interesting if he was actually a surrogate doctor in the episode and he did what Shooty should have been doing because he wasn't there, and he played the Doctor's role effectively. And he solved the puzzle. That would have been quite good.
It would have been quite good, but were they ever going to do that? You can't ever, and we know this, don't we? You never outshine your leading man or woman.
Well, they've already done it, haven't they? So
they come close. You can come close, but you can't. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
If they put those two together in a scene, then they would have done. That would have been probably the best 2-character scene in the entire series, and it wouldn't have involved the series leads. It would have been just admitting what they'd done, which would have been a little bit unfair on Millie, but absolutely bang on for Gatwa.
Yeah. Rob Alexander is agreeing with us, saying it literally takes the viewer out the story. So many times in this particular episode, the viewers are taking out the story, though, because the lack of continuity, or the lack of referring back to the Doctor's gone. That doesn't help you at all. So therefore, that's the reason why you don't miss the character, because she lives her life, living her life, and she's not going back to that thing of what happened to the Doctor. Why have I been alone for so long? And it's as though she doesn't know the Doctor would never just desert her. We know that.
What is weird about it is she did mention she'd been with the Doctor for a short time. Okay,
did she? I missed that.
Yeah, she mentioned that to Kate when she said. Kate said something like,
right.
We always look after the Doctor's companions once they come back to sort of Civvy Street, as it were, kind of thing. But, you know, you think that she's been with the Doctor, she's been in the Tardis, she's been to a space station, to other planets, blah, blah, blah. These are amazing experiences. You don't forget that. So why would you forget the Doctor and not have more investment?
You know what? Do you know, this is what JNT would have called an oddball. This episode, but I hope they're not going down that route of what JNT did in the 80s of making every story continue itself, because he loved what happened in the 60s, where one story immediately followed from the next. Because I like to think of them having off-camera stories and getting to know each other more, and you know, all those lovely adventures that you can. I don't want Russell just saying to Big Finish, "Oh, here's a whole canon that you can do when those two have finished their run in 3 or 4 years." I don't want that. I want to feel that they are getting to know each other. I think this should be months now into Millie, to Ruby journeying with the Doctor. I think there should be a bond there between them, not just weeks in. Joe, nice to see you. She said, sorry I'm late. Best episode far because the 15th Doctor wasn't in it. Oh, Joe, you're scathing. You're scathing, love. You really are. It's nice to see you all. Thank you very much for all your comments coming through here as well. It's great to see you. And also, Joe is saying to Kirsty, your hair is fabulous. There you go.
Thank you, darling.
What else we got? Lots of comments coming through. I can't keep up with you all, of course. I've seen Darren App is saying to us here, the pub scenes were filmed in a real pub. They lost the opportunity to make the most of it. Oh, where's it? Oh, see, I thought that's a cracking set. So thanks for updating me on that one, Darren. I hadn't realized, but wow, that explains why it looks really, really good. It's nice to know there's pub like that still.
When Kate Stewart was talking to Ruby, did she not say something about for the both of you, referring to her? And it made me think that there was something else about her character, or was Kate seeing two, or something like that. It just struck me as odd, because I don't think she was referring to the Doctor. Sort something out for the both of you, or something like that. Or did I just imagine that?
I'd have to go back and watch that bit again.
I thought she was meaning the Watcher as well as.
Yeah, but she did say something like that, didn't she?
But I don't know.
I can't remember because I can't remember much of that. I just have to address this from Simon. I'm doing my best. Simon's saying he's disappointed as other people are getting messages read out multiple times, but once again, mean nothing. I have put some of your comments up. I just haven't read them out because we're in conversation. Simon, I am trying. We've got over 230 people watching us and a lot of people commenting. I am doing my very best. Honestly, I'm so sorry, but I am trying. Go on, Ian. What were you saying?
Garbage and I are trying our darn hardest to read everyone's as well, but it's getting a bit spicy. So please, everyone, peace and love. Play nice.
Okay.
And play
It's fantastic, though, because we've got so many people watching. I am trying to keep up with you all, but the chat is going so quickly and I can't. So, and I'm also trying to listen to what my panel is saying to me as well, so I can keep in with the conversation. So I am trying. So thank you very much, everybody, at all. But there we go. Keep them coming, though. Keep them going. As I say, I'll get round to you as soon as I can. Ian, what were you saying there? Sorry.
No, I was. It was just that. It was just that comment about referring to the both. I mean, somebody's popped in. James F Muck has just said probably referring to the other woman. He's probably right. Same as what you said, Jodie. But with the other comment about putting them up, just to wade in on that, I've seen you put his comments up before. So
maybe Simon hasn't, but no, it's nothing against Simon. It's just I'm trying. We've got Phil Jones here saying to us, Millie isn't a great actress, but you can't see it, obviously. I thought she was fantastic in this. I think she held the episode brilliantly, actually, Phil. And for such a young actress as well. What is she when she filmed this? She was 18 or something. I thought she was very good, really, really good. And I'm going to give her all the credit that she deserves for carrying a major show like Doctor Who is, even though it's not doing as well at the moment. I think she pulled it off brilliantly. So
I think she was brilliant as well. I think an acting thing is subjective whether you like someone or not, because a lot of people like Shooty as the Doctor, I've heard. So fair enough, that's fine. Yeah, but I think Millie's superb. I really do.
What else? Yeah, keep that coming up. What else we got coming up for you now as well? Right. So what else we do during Who's Views reviews? Of course, we've got coming up for you. We have got scores on the Tardis doors towards the end of the show. And we've also got the ratings game coming up as well. We're going to be seeing who won from last week. But as part of this, we also do something called the Wokeometer. Now, this is where we allow the Wokeometer to see just how woke, that overused word now, this particular episode of Doctor Who was. So how we do with this is we crank it up with my Uncle Sydney over there. And this is what we do. Yes, so the Wokeometer is for the new series of Doctor Who each week. And what we do, it's been given the episode over there in the bucket. It's watched the episode from last night. It's listened to our comments. It's read as many of your comments as it possibly can. And it's now going to tell us between 1 and 10 how woke it feels this particular episode was. Okay? Panel, are you ready to see what the Wokeometer says?
Oh, I'm ready, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Uncle Sydney, are you ready? Well, put the butterbean next to it. Right. Crank it up, Uncle Sydney. Here we go. Let's see. What did it score? Oh.
Ooh.
There we go. That's it. It scored a 1 out of 10 on the Wokeometer this week because it didn't think it was that woke. What do you guys think about
that? Do concur.
I would agree, yeah.
And it's quite a surprise, isn't it? There might have been little elements. I have seen people saying there were little elements around the politician, but politicians are there to be got at, in my eyes. Doesn't matter what party they are from. They are there to be got at. You are a public servant of the highest office. Get on with it, I say.
Remember, I think on our previous headline show, we talked about the Radio Times review of this, I think, and they said something about it maybe being slightly edited differently. So I wonder if it had bits cut out,
Maybe. Maybe. I'm not too sure. But I actually want to just put out there as well. There were a lot of good reviews about this. I don't know if you've seen them all, but we do have this particular one. Now, this one's come from The Independent. Now, look at this. 5 out of 5. Now, this is the first review I've seen from British press that gave it 5 out of 5. A lot of the others were giving it 4 or 4 and a little bit, you know? But here we are with The Independent. Doctor Who 73 Yards review, a 5-star knockout all day long. The new episode, which serves as a fantastic showcase for Millie Gibson, is a sprawling tale of destiny, self-determination, and learning to live and love your flaws and limitations. See, I didn't get any of that, but let's carry on with what they say. Finally, it's here. The first Doctor Who classic of the Ncuti Gatwa era. Ironically, the 15th Doctor is absent throughout almost the entirety of 73 Yards, but this is nonetheless an adventure made in his sincere, dashing image. Really? It also passes the litmus test of any great Doctor Who installment. Would it work even without the Doctor? The answer is stonkingly in the affirmative. I don't know if that's a good thing, though, to be honest, Independent. But this showcase for Gibson's Ruby quickly expands beyond the boundaries of any specific genre to become a sprawling tale of destiny, self-determination, and learning to live and love your flaws and limitations. Oh, and there's a scary woman doing weird hand signals and cackling just out of earshot. Could an ardent Whovian want for anything more? What is especially telling is that, of the first 4 episodes in the latest season, 73 Yards is both the best and by far the least Hollywood. The BBC's deal with Disney has allowed it to splash out on special effects, and there have been moments when you could be watching a Marvel movie with better tailoring. But there are almost no whiz-bang adornments in 73 Yards. We've rewound to the hallowed days when our heroes would tramp around a windswept and overcast real-world location, and back to basics vibe that adds to the wizardry. So that's the Independence review there, 5 out of 5. What do you guys think of that?
Fair play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about that model about would the episode work without the Doctor, because, I mean, try that with Deadly Assassin. It wouldn't really work, would it?
No.
You know, you take the Doctor out of that and, okay, nothing happens.
I think, like I said before, doing it Doctor Light has worked in the past, but there's Doctor Light and then there's Absent Doctor, isn't there?
I mean, this. Bearing in mind that critics are paid to criticize and they are there to praise as well, and they're looking for certain things that a general audience might not be. I mean, that person, I can't remember who wrote it now, but they've come up with an awful lot of stuff there that I didn't get through this particular episode.
No, I didn't understand some of that at all.
I mean, it was a showcase for Ruby Sunday, and she did really well, regardless of what some comments have said, which, you know, everybody each to their own, that's absolutely fine. But she did do really well. And in this more modern brackets, crap, close brackets era that we've got since Whittaker came along, could you imagine Ryan carrying an episode on his own?
Who's Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh, from Jodie Whittaker's time.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't have happened, wouldn't it? You would have had a literal piece of wood would have carried an episode better than he could have done. But
it'd be about the sign. The pub sign would be more interesting, you know.
But on the pub sign, you know, they went to the pub sign, didn't they? And then they panned across to the pub. I mean, how far away from the pub was the pub sign, for God's sake? They're normally above the door, aren't they? What's that all about?
Maybe they had a car park.
Bloody road.
Yeah. Maybe there was a car park for it. I don't know. Interesting. I just thought it was an interesting article from The Independent there about what they got from it. You know,
I don't understand the bit about, was it loving your, what was it, just, what did they say? Learning to, there was a bit you said, and I didn't get where that came from at all.
Learning to live and love your flaws and limitations.
Where did that happen?
Yeah.
I don't know where that happened. I'm quite happy to be told where it happened, but I can't think of a bit in that was about that.
You've stumped me.
And
she didn't have. Yes. Did she have any major flaws? Because I don't. It's just weird.
Beautiful skin at 40, certainly.
Well, so have I. What are you talking about? So, So
But I
although,
don't,
like,
the review, I don't disagree with the review saying it was the best episode of the. It was good, but I don't understand why they haven't explained that, because that doesn't make sense for that episode for me.
yeah.
And it was good, but it's a very, very, very low benchmark, isn't it?
Oh God,
It doesn't have
Well,
to
yeah.
do much to get to be the best episode so far.
No, well, yeah, because we're comparing it to what's gone in the previous episodes of this series, aren't we? Hello and welcome to Who's Views to Elizabeth Knightsbridge. I thought the first 30 minutes was intriguing, but I've missed the ending twice now for different reasons. But the part I saw was okay. And for when we do scores on the Tardis store, she's going to give that an 8 out of 10. So thank you for that, Elizabeth. Thanks for joining us. And Gilliam is here with us as well. Damn, I know I only got to the first 20 minutes before I fell asleep, but unlike episode 1 and 2, I will have to look this one up and watch it fully. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I think I think it's designed that you have to go back and watch it again, but it's not enough to make me want to do it.
Yeah, there was one of the comments, Talons of Wenchan, I think he was called, or she was called, was saying, is it a classic, like, Pyramids of Mars or whatever? And I'm like, well, no, it's really, really not. That's it. Yeah, it's not in the same league. No,
not at all. No chance. It'd be interesting to know if the younger ones are thinking it's a classic.
Yeah, but years later, people are still talking about those stories, and years later, people
and
will
Blink,
not still be talking about it.
Yeah. I know what you're saying there as well, because will people be talking about these particular episodes in, never mind 10 years, 5 years?
No.
It's so easy to say best episode ever. Everyone says that, or the Doctor arrives after the regeneration. He's my favorite Doctor. That's nonsense, isn't it?
TARDIS Travels is saying to us here, the Daleks will be back to bolster the series. I hate to think, if they are, how they will do it. And hello to Robbie Russo, who's saying learning to live without the Doctor. Is that us or is that Ruby? Because she did it very easily, I think.
Because when Shooty comes back next week, will the Doctor be there or not? Do you wonder?
Well, but again, that was the end of the episode, wasn't it? Because at the end of the episode, it hasn't happened. This is, again, one of the things I always get about, she had the flow of having an old woman 73 yards away from her all the time, says George Pelliper there. Absolutely.
That's quite a handicap, isn't it? Yeah.
This is one of those things that Russell T Davies does, and Moffat to an extent also has, about that reset button at the end of things, isn't it? So nothing ever happened. So the biggest thing, of course, there that I'll always remember and use the example of is Martha traipsed the world for a whole year telling the people about the Doctor, and then nobody remembers it anyway, or her good work, or how she saved the planet or time and space and everything like that. She spent a whole year doing it, and then it gets rolled back to the day before she left or whatever it was. And this has done it again, and he does that an awful lot, doesn't he? The magic reset button, and it's getting a bit jarring for me. And I think more with this setup could have been done on Ruby solving an actual mystery, dealing with something that was possibly like Stones of Blood, based along folklore, dealing with whatever she had to deal with, and bringing him back somehow.
The mystery of the fact is what Ruby's done, or what the consequences of what she is, because whatever she says to these people, to the guy leaving the pub, or mum, whoever, the prime minister, all that kind of stuff, what is that? What's going on there?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And there's also the fact that this isn't her fault, by the way. This is the writing, in my opinion, fault.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that there's no normal response to having her whole life just wasted by the fact she's got this person 73 yards away from her. There's no anger there or reaction, or at the end of her life, there's no like, oh my God, my whole life has just been absorbed by this mystery. So that was weird, but she played it how it was written. I'm not criticizing her. I'm just saying it came over as odd. Yeah, most of us would be quite hacked off about it.
I did quite like a reaction to her mum not returning her calls, and they changed the locks in the house and stuff. That was quite a good moment.
That was good.
Yeah.
But right at the end of her life, all of a sudden the 73 yards thing went out the window, didn't she? Because she was standing at the end of her bed. So what happened to the 73 yards then? It wasn't always 73 yards. It was like 73 inches. What was all that about?
Is that? See, I wondered that. And the only thing I can think of, and if you have a resolution to that in the chat as well. Let us know, please. But is it because her life was ending and she was able to get closer to herself on this, and they're bypassing all that sort of nonsense that we know about, or because she knew that if they merged together, she'd be taken back with the knowledge that she has to stop it happening in the first place? I'm getting a headache.
Well, in the football ground, in the football stadium, where she was trying to move 73 yards away from him, they were about to shoot her. So she was technically getting close to the end of her life there. So
that wasn't very realistic. If that was real security, she'd be dead by now.
Oh yeah, they shoot her immediately now, wouldn't they? Yeah.
Golden shot, left a bit, right a bit, no fire, a bit like that, you know.
Yeah. It's all up there, isn't it? It's all out there somewhere. Moriarty is saying to us here she was dying, so that ties in with that whole thing of.
But it was because she stopped the Doctor from stepping on it at the end. That reset it. That's the understanding of it. Then is it?
Yeah, because it didn't happen.
Right.
Yeah,
okay,
she heard it communicating with her, didn't she? She heard it whispering to her, which she didn't the first time. Why not?
Yeah. Domgo is saying to us here, the biggest problem is that it makes no attempt to explain why the Doctor disappears and the TARDIS is left to rot.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to say the viewer needs to fill in those blanks. I've never understood with this whole thing about the TARDIS rotting as well, because it's an alien time machine built by the engineers of Gallifrey to withstand God knows what. It would not rot. And at some point, the TARDIS, the Doctor's TARDIS, being the character that she is, would just get fed up and leave anyway. She'd go off and take herself on some holidays or something, wouldn't she?
Parting of the ways, the Doctor said, just leave the TARDIS here. Time will pass and eventually it'll end up getting buried.
Yeah.
Never about it rotting. It's...
It'd probably take itself off to Metebelis 3 or something like that, wouldn't it? You know?
Well, in the old days, of course, she would take herself off home, but apparently she can't do that anymore. I don't know. I'm all confused about it. Raymond Williams is saying she was dying and becoming a ghost. So Raymond is the woman. No, she can't be a ghost, can she? I was going to say, does that mean she's a ghost when she's older? But no, because Kate and everybody see her as well, don't they? And she says something to them to scare them off. So I don't know. Oh.
Kirsty's got a headache now as well.
See, this is what some of the fans on the social platforms today have been saying. Don't think about it, just enjoy it. But I quite like the fact that we can discuss it and we can try and work it out, because that's what Doctor Who fans do. But I don't think we've had anything in such a long time that makes us talk to the nth degree here about being able to say, what the hell was going on? You know?
Yeah, we're going back to Ghostlight. That was much more simple than this, I have to say.
I understood Ghostlight immediately, but there you go.
It would have really worked though for an episode of Sapphire and Steel.
Oh yeah.
Yes, wouldn't it just? And that would have been played brilliantly, so that you sort of got the gist. But it's not the same as Doctor Who, is it? Really? You know? No, but
that's the way he seems to be going. He's not.
Yeah, maybe
it's like he thinks he can take the sort of Hammer theme of the 70s. You know, the Hammer horror theme of the 70s Doctor Who's. And it's like he thinks he can rework it without the monsters. So therefore, he's like redoing it with no fun. It's like...
Yeah. He's taking all the fun out of it, yeah.
I mean, this one, actually, I still think this one was pretty good. But I just wanted more explained. It's going to annoy me forever now.
We must make sure that it doesn't.
But it will, because it's like any unresolved thing that you just think, oh God, I wish I had more and I knew why, you know.
Well, if we're forced to watch the 2 series, we'll find out by episode 16 or something, you know.
You know, if we watch it all and we don't, that's going to be another one of these.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got Paul Richards saying to us here, reset buttons, companions die and are resurrected, and the Doctor doesn't lose his body. It's all without jeopardy and consequences. We've spoken about that for, I think we're all agreed on that one with this new version of Doctor Who. That's all now gone, isn't it? Because we just know everybody's going to be fabulous. Cybermat Strike wants to know, why was the grass so important? Maybe Shooty didn't want us to touch that particular grass. And just Jordan is saying, but he still mentions Roger at Willem at the end, so he's still around. So what did it achieve? A good point. Yeah, so if he's still around there,
someone's also saying here as well, what is the point of the politician and the threat of a nuclear strike? Does that mean he's still at large and a problem if Ruby doesn't follow that sequence of events to stop him? So is he still kicking around?
I think part of the problem now is we're putting more thought into this than Russell T did putting into the script.
Yeah.
I
But it
think
deserves,
probably, yeah. I think, we've got to that point now, haven't we? We are actually. We've got to that sad geek time.
Yes.
We've come up with better ideas than what's actually been cracking on the TV.
Yeah, this is all
Yes,
copyright
probably.
RTD. Just saying that now, okay?
Yeah.
Don't steal it.
Copyright Who's Views.
Yeah. It's fantastic to see you all telling us all this. Atom is with us. Hello, Atom Arabelis. Tonally and similarly, Amy's Choice is better episode than 73 Yards. I can't remember it. I'm going to have to go back and look at it at some point. And hello and welcome to Count 69. What was the point of the politician and the threat of a nuclear strike? Does that mean he's still at large? A problem? That's the one. If Ruby doesn't follow the sequence of events to stop him. And Matty is saying this is what RTD wants. People talking about it, getting rewarded for lazy writing, which creates plot holes for which there is no solution. Melanie Weston investigates. Nice to see you. Welcome to Who's Views. The story idea was good, but the execution was bad. And I'm gonna. Yeah. And I'm so disappointed, really. I wonder, says Keyring of Razalon, if Mad Jack weren't some evil force that was released into the world by Ruby reading the note and then inhabited Gwilym, but now remains trapped in the note and Gwilym's safe.
But he still warned her about him.
Yeah, but I still think you're all having better ideas than Russell T did. I actually think if this group of fans got together and wrote that story, it would have been better.
No, yeah. And there are some cracking ideas coming through as well. So keep them all coming, everybody. Goodness me, what a time we've had. I think it's time we actually... I think it's time we looked at the ratings game, isn't it? So here we go with the ratings game for today for 73 Yards. Okay, so if you're new to us here on Who's Views, this is what we do every week as part of our reviews of the new version of Doctor Who. We look at the ratings, and each week I ask the WHOTASTIC panel and you in the chat to give us your estimate of what the overnight will be for the next episode on BBC One. So just to clarify, we only look at the overnight because... well, we're live on a Sunday night and we get the overnight rating on the Sunday morning. So it's a lot easier for us. We do mention the consolidated and we do look at those in headlines, which is our headline show, our news show, which we look at throughout the week. So we'll be looking at those in time. But right now for the ratings game, we do look at what we think the overnights will be. Now, Boom got an overnight of 2.04, which means that 73 Yards had a slight increase at 2.62 million overnight on BBC One. Now, bearing in mind that Space Babies had 2.6, this is now the highest overrated episode.
Freudian slip there, GT.
Yes, this is where we're at now. Gosh, I never thought we'd see this day again, but here we go. Yes, so let's have a look at the scores from last time round, because this is what we all thought would happen. Kirsty went lower with 2.2. Ian went lower with 2.0. Paul went lower with 1.7. Jodie went lower with 1.8. And I went lower with 1.9. So we were actually all out.
Look, can you just give Kirsty a box of pencils? They're much simpler.
Yeah, Kirsty was the nearest, so she gets a Who's Views pencil. That's her third. Well done, Kirsty. So... yeah, what we do now, though, is we're going to look at what we think is going to be happening for the next episode, which is called Dot and Bubble. And do we think it's going to go higher or lower? So you can let us know in the chat as well. You can play this if you like. I'm going to get into character right now. Here we go, then. I've discovered my motivation for this. And I'm going to start... with Paul. What do you think the overnight rating will be? Not on Bubble.
I'm rubbish at this, I have to say, but I'm going to say, optimistically, based on this being a bit higher, I'm going to say 3 million.
Paul, the Dot and Bubble is going higher at 3 million. Jodie was trying to get out of it there. Maybe she is. for Dr. Ian.
I am shocked and stunned what my colleague here has said.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still stunned. I can't say your name. I think it will be lower, and I think it will be I think it'll be just under 2.4. So I'm going to say 2.3.
Ian is going for 2.3. Jodie seems to have lost all sound with us. She's got a technical issue there. Okay. Jode, can you still not hear us? No, she can't hear us. Okay. Kirsty, what are you going to go for your rating for the overnights for BBC One?
My source is online. I am going to go for 2.1.
Kirsty is going lower at 2.1. Okay.
And I'll take my pencil.
Okay, give it to her now.
Jodie is having technical issues. So we will get her score a little bit later on. Let's go to you guys in the chat and see what you are all saying. Wow. There's a lot of you there. James Ethmic, slight dip due to people thinking it's going to be cringe with 2.4. $2 million, says Michael Webster. Alien Airplanes is saying that technically he won the ratings game because he said 2.5 million last time. Jamie Knight is saying to us here 2.3, and actually crediting that word of mouth might play a part here. Be interesting to see, wouldn't it, if the power of the public comes through. Jodie's just texted me here saying that her rating will be 2.1. Okay. Richard is with us saying Dot and Bubble will come in at 2.3 million. Talons of Wang Chiang is saying 2.8. Elizabeth Knightsbridge, 2.2 million. Don't ask for an explanation, it's a complete guess. That's all it's all about. Lower says Drutavian Eternity Reaper at 2.27. Meddling Funk is 2.1. Atom Miriables is saying 2.4. And 2.2 from Terry Tees. Andrew Birch is joining us with 1.8. And Alpha Storm, 1.9. We're back into that sort of thing there now, everybody. Raymond is saying here, it's still under 3 million. Some are celebrating an upturn to 2.6. In the past, I never thought Doctor Who would fall below 4 million. Jodie's rejoining us here. Can you hear us, pal?
Yes, I can. I'm now on the phone.
Okay, right, no worries. Let's have a look. Domgo is saying to us here, Monsoon and Pals will finally turn up and it will be 12 million. Frank is saying to us here 2.1 million and 2.7 million for Dot and Bubble from Lynn. Thank you very much, Lynn. $2.75 million from Crippling to Blue. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Raymond is saying 2.02 million. And 2.2 million, Paul Roughton says, back down it goes. Lex is joining us from Lex K's TV and movies. Lower, I think, for next Doctor Who feels like Zoom meets Bug Aliens. We shall soon see. Dino 5, 2.7. Expectation has increased. And Gilliam is saying to us here 2.4 just because people are hoping Shooty take more time off. The keyring of Razalon, I reckon next week's will be higher just on the reviews and word on the streets for 73 yards being so good. The word on the street in Britain, though, for Doctor Who is non-existent. I don't think one episode is going to make much of a difference. Duck Soup Productions, 2.3. And Just Jordan, I've seen this monster in person. It's quite cool. The trailer was naff. I'm going to say 2.35. Ooh. Paul Richards is also saying to us 2.8. And Melanie Weston Investigates 2.4. 2.8 from Talon for the keyring of Razalon. And Dalek I Love You is saying 2.5. Any more for any more? T-Mac 1.99. And John Cartwright 1.9 due to more plot holes than the average British roads, and that's saying something if you're outside the UK. Dot and Bubble get 2.8, says Stephen Braddock. Thank you, Stephen. And Huge Janus. Huge Janus is telling us 2.25. Nice to see you. Thanks for being with us. Dalek I Love You is actually saying the next says Slug Monsters, actual monsters. Hooray. And 21st Century Boy is saying 2.20. Terry Tees, a pullback from 73 yards, but not lower than 2 million, so 2.2. 2.1 based on Die Hard, says Dr. Zoom. And Lady of Traken 2.3. This is really good. Thank you very much for everybody for giving in this. 1.85 from Mark Milford. And Daz Blue is saying 2 million, no FA Cup hangover. That's going along my theory there, isn't it? Garbage. Will it be raining next Saturday? This is just like Eurovision, except there's no nil plot yet. Let's face that one. And John is saying here 2.2 million. Okay, I'm going to call it on that particular one. Thank you, everybody there. Oh, Jacob. Can't miss Jacob. Jacob Barham, 2.3 next week, I think.
I think we had Cybermat Strikes said 3 million as well.
Okay, Cybermat Strikes with 3 million. Thank you. And Robbie Russo earlier. Didn't you give us something there, Robbie? Okay. Right, I'm going to call it on that particular one. I'm going to end that with my rating as well. Good grief. Do I think 73 yards is going to be enough to bring people to the show? No, I don't. So I'm going to go lower. 73 yards got 2.62 overnight. I'm going to go 2.2. 2.2. Crikey. And there we go. Thank you for all your ratings on that. That was the ratings game. And it's not finished yet because we're going to go from the ratings game now to, of course, scores on the TARDIS doors. It's time for everybody to start popping those scores out of 10. If you are new to us here on Who's Reviews, that's what we do. Mark this episode 73 yards out of 10, please. Start putting them into the chats while I run the titles. Okay, then, so here we go. There's something new for us, as I said last week. This is the scoreboard so far. There are usually 5 of us on the panel for this version of Who's Views Reviews. So it's marked. We get 10 marks each. So it's marked out of 50. Space Babies, 3.5 out of 50. The Devil's Cord, 4.5 out of 50. And Boom got 21 out of 50. So that was the best one so far. Let's see what we're going to be saying now. I'm going to start this time with Kirsty. What are you going to give this particular episode out of 10?
7.
7 out of 10 from Kirsty for that. Thank you very much. Just very quickly, I want to say thank you to Robbie for saying 3 million. Okay, Robbie, thank you for that for the ratings game. Right, so 7 out of 10 from Kirsty for her score on the TARDIS door for this episode. Jodie, go with you next.
I was going to go for a 7 as well.
7 out of 10. Thank you very much. Third Dr. Ian.
Highest rating from me, but still not high because it wasn't really Doctor Who. So I'll give it a 3. because of
3.
Sean and Mr. Bevan, because I can't pronounce his first name properly.
And they're in Bernard.
That's the one. And a good performance from Millie, but it wasn't Doctor Who.
Okay, and thank you for that. Paul, your score on the TARDIS door for 73 yards, please.
I thought this was better than Boom. So I'll give it slightly more. I'll give that 6.
6, okay. Brilliant. Thank you very much for putting all your scores on the TARDIS doors into the chat. We're going to come to you in a second. I'm going to give my score on the TARDIS door now. I did enjoy this for some bizarre reason I can't put my finger on. I really can't. I did like it. I'm concerned by the fact I did not miss the Doctor in it at all. And as I said, throughout this show, I thought Millie was superb. So if she ever comes across this, well done, kid. You're going to go far, I think. Well done. You really carried this episode. I'm swinging between 6 and 10. But because I am disappointed that it didn't go the way I wanted to, I am going to give it a 6, I think. Which I think is probably going to be our highest so far this season, isn't it, really, when we add it all up? Let's get to the chat and see what you're doing there. Robbie Russo is giving it 10 out of 10. Thank you for that, Robbie. Glad you enjoyed it. 6 from 10 from Moriarty. 7 out of 10 from John. Nice to see that. Barry Stroud is giving it a 2 out of 10. Thank you very much, Barry, for that one. 7 from Neville, who's saying it would have been 3 had Gatwa been in it. Scathing. Just a comment from Pete Den Cat. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. I am loving this new phase of Doctor Who, but as I'm watching it, 2 things come to mind. Monty Python and Dirk Gently by Douglas Adams. Watch this space for verification. Now, Jodie's a huge Douglas Adams fan here. So what do you think on that one?
I don't know. Douglas Adams really could write very, very well. And I'm not seeing that in the writing. And I'm also, I don't know, he just was so clever with everything he put in his books and in his writing. I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, he had a certain knack, didn't he? Tongue-in-cheek knack all the way through. Domgo is giving this one for 73 yards, 4 out of 10. And Melanie Weston Investigates, 7 out of 10. Medlin Funk, 4 out of 10. And Huge Janus is giving this a 6 out of 10. Michael Webster, 73 yards is a 6 out of 10. It would have been higher prior to RTD's comments. Okay, fair enough. Drutavian is saying to us here, they seem to be pulling lots from the Sarah Jane adventures at the moment. I'm guessing as they will be using the Trickster as a nod to the upcoming spin-offs. Time will tell. James is saying 7.5 out of 10. I actually enjoyed this episode and it felt like Doctor Who, mystery, sci-fi and intrigue. Thank you for that. Really appreciate you playing the game here. Alpha Storm, 2 out of 10. And Elizabeth Knightsbridge missed the ending twice, but for the first 30 minutes were decent, so an 8 out of 10. Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. 21st Century Boy is saying 73 yards gets 3 out of 10. Okay, and Brian Mason is saying 4. Wow. Raymond Williams is saying 2 out of 10, both for Millie. Story was the trash can, bin it and forget it. And Crimpling Doubloon is saying very good, but not superb, but gains a point for Shooty being in it so little, 8 out of 10. Wow. Mixed scores for this one. Have you noticed this, guys? This is really all over the shop.
Yeah.
Jamie Knight is saying 8 out of 10, which means, again, I've marked down previous episodes. Boom is 7 out of 10. The Devil's Board, Chord is 7 out of 10. And Steve Space Baby 6 out of 10. Okay, interesting. And Duck Soup Productions, I didn't watch, but Les Gatwa earns it an automatic 3. Hello to David Gulvin. Thank you for your score here. 6.5. Watchable, but why should we have to work out what the script was about on behalf of a writer who couldn't be bothered? Atom is saying, brilliant to Kirsty, representing the 11th Doctor, 10 cool points awarded to you. That's obviously not for the episode. There you go.
Actually, Third Doctor Ian sent me this down, and he sits the live stream. And
there
he just visually told me to say 7.
Well, you need to have the right doctors for the right number. That doesn't work, okay? You have to have number 6 or number 5, or Peter Davison or Colin Baker, for goodness sake.
Terry Tees is saying 6 out of 10 at the very most. The rest of the episodes are all under 5 in his opinion. And 7 out of 10 from Cybermatch Strikes. I would have gone 8 to 9 if it wasn't RTD magic bullshit reset. Just Jordan is saying I'm giving it a 7. Dad is giving it a... Oh, she's left me on a cliffhanger. What, Josh Jordan? What is it? That's high for me, and I'll take that. Alice Hodges, hello, nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Sorry, it's a 4, says Drutavian. They had all this fantasy mystery, but didn't use any of it. Lots of holes on another damp squid. And Dino 5 still loves Leeds United. Romana, 10 out of 10. Oh, thank you for watching, Romana. Nice to see you. I'm glad you're enjoying Doctor Who. I really am. I'm so glad that they're actually providing something for some of the kids. It's great. And 6.5 from Dad there as well. So thank you so much. But Romana, I'm delighted you're getting something out of this. Here it is. Just Jordan's returning. 7 from Just Jordan and 5 from Dad. Yeah. He's on our wavelength. Atom is saying 73 yards was a 6 out of 10, but it took a lot from Amy's Choice and some Sarah Jane Adventure stories. And Mark is telling us, Mark, 2 on content, 10 on creating an episode of Doctor Who that doesn't feel like Doctor Who. It doesn't feature Doctor Who, but it's still called Doctor Who. That's probably the reason it didn't have the Doctor Who theme tune at the beginning, isn't it? Let's face it, because it was something different for him. 8 out of 10 from Frank. Nice to see you. Jacob, 7 for me. Best so far. Brian Mason is saying 4 out of 10 just for Millie. And Lynn, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I like Millie, the direction, and the part of the story set in Wales. It was just so half-baked. Gilliam is saying 5 out of 10 for the first 20 minutes. Hopefully in the next 25, gives it another 3. Okay, yeah, she's only watched 25 so far. And Lex is giving it 3 out of 10. Only reason is because excellent performance from Dame Sian Phillips. Millie was fantastic. 73 yards should have been a standalone sci-fi series rather than Doctor Who. It could have been one of these alleged spin-offs, couldn't it, really, that he's going on about? Could have been something totally different. And Stephen Braddock is telling 8 out of 10. It's had me thinking about it all day, but Millie was amazing. You know, I think you need to get out more then, Dave, Stephen. John is saying to us here, 2 out of 10 because of no payoffs in any of the stories. It's poor writing and it's disappointing. And Paul Roughton is saying to us, I didn't watch. Seems reviews are plenty. Even the reviews do nothing for me. Paul, I'm gutted that we're not doing anything for you. I worked so hard for you. Divining Dragon is saying to us here, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. I don't forgive the plot holes. Well, and Paul is saying to us, he's adding here, RTD wishes he has a morsel of Douglas Adams' writing ability. You're never going to get the likes of that again. Yeah. You are never going to get that again. Not at all. Dalek, I love you. Right, okay, what you were saying to us, still have not watched any episodes, but I give it 3 out of 10. As it sounds, it's like it's just too confusing. And lovely Limekins is saying 7 out of 10. Any more from any more? Hello to XSM. 73 yards was better than Boom. Do you know, spookily, I'm going to agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. George, Pelipar, 7.5 out of 10. Did anyone notice that Millie touched grass? Said Brian Mason. Yes, I think everybody in the world noticed that. And XSM is actually saying 7.3 out of 10. Atom is saying 6 out of 10. Get your scores in now because we're going to close this down in a minute. 4 out of 10 from Paul Richards. Andrew is saying 5 out of 10. This is great. And Steve Hinley is giving it 1 out of 10. Thank you for your honesty, mate. X-Man 577, it's out of 10. Do you want to give it a 5 out of 10, X-Man? Let's have a look. Well, 3 out of 10 says Gore Vidal. The idea was interesting, but execution was jarring because Millie didn't react at all in a realistic manner. Yeah. So it wasn't just me then thinking that. And Domgo is saying to us here, what a waste using a Dame Sian Phillips as a cameo. It was, wasn't it? It was just a glorified cameo. And I was so upset after all these years of waiting for her to be in Doctor Who. And she comes in and then bang, she's just gone again. Quite high scoring, Sir James.
So upset for you.
Sorry?
I was so upset for you because of how
I'm
excited you were. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm so upset for me. I was so excited to see her and then bang, she's disappeared. And Rob Alexander, what's this? 1 for the first 25 minutes, is that right? Then a 5? Here he is. Sorry, 8 for the first 25, then 5. Thank you for clarifying. And Cybermatch Strikes agrees that 73 yards was better than Boom.
Do you get the vibe that next week feels like a parody of Doctor Who a little bit? Watching the Next Time trailer, it looks like it's a Doctor Who spoof.
Well, I've no idea. I don't know at all. I'm calling time on the scores on the Tardis store there. Thank you, everybody. But as Paul's saying, what happens next here on Who's Views Reviews? Where are we off to next? as mentioned, the next episode is Dot and Bubble. Yeah, part 5 of DisneyWho Series 1, 2024. This is the one with monsters in, everybody. Could this hit a chord with all of us? I don't know, but you can come back and join us next Sunday, the 2nd of June, live here on the channel at 8 o'clock with your thoughts, your comments. We want to see you, so thank you so much. Come and join us for Dot and Bubble. It's up there on the channel for you now. You can like it already. You can ring that bell to make sure you're with us again next Sunday for that. I have to be honest, it doesn't excite me, that little trailer they put out there at all. I mean, I think for the kids it could be exciting because those bug things seem to be going and eating people.
Yeah.
But for us adults, we'll just have to wait and see, won't we, really? Because we've seen it all before, quite frankly.
It doesn't look great CGI, does it, for the monsters? I know they're partly practical monsters, but there's a lot of CGI involved and it looks a bit naff, I have to say. But let's not prejudge it, shall we?
We won't prejudge it, even though we probably has.
Yeah.
Captain Have Fun, I just want to say hello to you. Hi, chat. I bet Shooty was happy to get paid for this episode and only needing 1 day of shooting, I'm sure. Any actor would, quite frankly. So absolutely. Paul is actually agreeing with us there. Poor Route. Is it just me or all the next time trailers totally unengaging? They're not dramatic at all, are they? Even the 73 yards one didn't sort of go boo, Yeah. Domgo is actually saying it looks well rubbish. We will soon find out, though, won't we? We will soon find out. Join us again next Sunday for Who's Views Reviews, live at 8 here on Who's Views. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us. Again, if you haven't subscribed, it's free to subscribe. Please do subscribe to the channel. We do really appreciate you. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in and joining us in the chat. I did my very best to keep up with you all. It was really difficult. So if I have upset you, if I've missed anybody out, I do apologize. But we've had very nearly 300 people watching this particular show tonight. So thank you so much. We do appreciate you. We do really appreciate you. And just to mention as well, if you do want to get in touch with us, please feel free to do that. You can get in touch with us here at Who's Views, at whosviews1@gmail.com. whosviews1@gmail.com. We will be back probably in the week with another one of our shows about headlines, because when they make news, we talk about it. So thank you. Come and join us for that. And as I say, we'll be back next week for Dot and Bubble. To Paul, to Third Doctor Ian, to Kirsty, Lady of the Chat, and to Jodie, thank you so much for joining me for 73 Yards. So excited to hear your opinions about that. And I'm glad I wasn't the only one that's a little bit sort of on the fence with it. But I'm looking forward to seeing what you think about Dot and Bubble next week as well. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
And as for us, we will see you then next week. So everybody take a deep breath and join us next week here on Who's Views. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Bye.